Hello and welcome to NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
Good evening, race fans. Welcome back to NXTGEN Racing live on YouTube. You join us for the third round of the championship, and this is the NXTCC, a touring car championship hosted by NXTGEN Racing that is going to replicate the British Touring Car Championship as closely as possible. And to explain that, we'll go into that very shortly. Tonight is round 3 of the championship, and we're here live on Wednesday nights on NXTGEN TV for the Blue Lobby. There are 2 lobbies available for the drivers to drive in this series. Orange Lobby goes live on YouTube on Tuesdays, and of course this Blue Lobby live tonight, right now, on Wednesday night here at NXTGEN Racing. A little bit about the series before we head into the racing itself. This is NXTGEN Racing in its 9th season of the NXTCC, and it is a championship where we will replicate the British Touring Car Championship as closely as possible. And we do that with using similar tracks, similar style cars, the traditional touring cars on iRacing they are. Similar points format, similar ballast allocation, all based off success. So plenty of elements to make this just like a real life touring car championship. And of course, for NXTGEN Racing, a big thank you and acknowledgement goes out to the partners, sponsors and affiliates of NXTGEN Racing that include PowerMax Racing, Mark Sykes Designs, Benji Sim Photos, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Sam Cases, Moser Racing, Joyce Design and Falconer PC. You can still get involved in this series if you wish to, if you are a driver on iRacing, if you have an iRacing subscription, if you have the tracks, if you have the cars, and you have a wheel and pedals, you can get involved in the series itself. The pricing's in the top right there, and if you join our Discord, of which you can scan the QR code in just the off centre of our screen here, you can get involved in NXTGEN Racing's Discord server. There you can meet the drivers and the admins and get involved in all of the series we have here at NXTGEN Racing. On Tuesday nights we host the NXTCC, on Thursday nights we host a GT3 League, and on the Tuesdays in between NXTCC rounds we host a Legends League using the iconic on iRacing Legends Coupe 34 cars. And there are other leagues coming to NXTGEN Racing very, very shortly on iRacing and other sim platforms actually, so keep an eye on NXTGEN news in the coming weeks and months. These are the tracks that we are pursuing this season, and the reason we said this is a season quite alike the British Touring Car Championship, well, it's mostly because of the tracks here. We started off at Donington Park National Circuit where the BTCC started off, and then we went over to Brands Hatch Indy, which was 2 weeks ago from now. And today we're here at the Snetterton 300 circuit, which will host the British Touring Car Championship in the coming days. And then round 4 of the championship will be hosted at the Thruxton circuit on iRacing. And round 5 of the championship will see us out of the first half of the season at the Alton Park Island layout circuit. Round 6 is supposed to be hosted at Croft, but it has recently come to light that Croft might not be coming to iRacing very soon, but we will use a track similar to Croft that will represent Croft for round 6 of the championship. More news on that in a later live stream, and keep an eye on NXTGEN Racing Discord and Facebook for that news, of course. Round 7 will be hosted in Scotland at Knockhill International Circuit, with round 8 hosted at Donington Park Grand Prix Circuit. Round 9 at Silverstone National Circuit, and then the final round, of course, will end at Brands Hatch Grand Prix Circuit. You'll notice that most of the dates are fairly similar to British Touring Car Championship. Some rounds are hosted on the week after the British Touring Car Championship round, and some rounds are hosted on the week before the championship round. In this case, it's the week before, but others will vary. And of course, this is a traditional touring car league on iRacing with a few features that just make it a little bit all the more interesting. But we use the traditional TCR cars on iRacing that include the Audi RS3, the Hyundai Veloster and the Hyundai Elantra, and the Honda Civic Type R. So 4 TCR cars available for the drivers to choose from. And similar to the British Touring Car Championship, we have similar length sessions. We start off with qualifying on the hour in just a few moments' time, and that will be a 15-minute session to set the grid for race 1. Race 1 itself will be a 20-minute sprint race, and then we'll go for a quick break and we'll be back for race 2, which the grid will be formed by the results of race 1, and that second race will be another 20-minute race. Race 3 is the highlight race of the night usually, as that is the race that features reversed grids, and it is based on the results of race 2, but a draw of 6th to 12th position can be drawn with a spin the wheel in the interval between races 2 and 3, and that will decide what positions are reversed for the grid for race 3. And success ballast is introduced into this series as well, again to make it replicate the British Touring Car Championship somewhat. The success ballast varies across each category. The top 10 will receive success ballast in the pro category, so that is additional weight applied to their cars based on where they finish. The higher up in the top 10 they are, the more weight they'll receive for the future race. Pro-Am category drivers are the middle tier drivers of our race today, and that'll be the top 5 of said category. And the Am category, only the top 3, and Am category are typically the lesser experienced drivers in our races, in our rounds, in our leagues, and it's the top 3, as we mentioned, that will receive success ballast. Upon each race, it will change from race to race. And there are also bonus points on offer, just like the British Touring Car Championship. The pole sitter for each category in each race will receive a bonus point, likewise with the fastest lap of each race, and if you lead a lap of each race, you get a bonus point. And the most places gained per race in each category will be given a bonus point as well. So we're here at the Snetterton circuit tonight. Nicknamed Wetterton sometimes, but it certainly isn't today. Bright sunshine. I've looked out my window, which I'm only about an hour away from Snetterton, and I agree. It's nice hot weather at the moment. You can see the temperature is 38 degrees. I believe that's track temperature, by the way, not ambient temperature. But Snetterton 300 circuit, it's a fairly, if you compare it to other tracks on the BTCC calendar, it's a fairly recent layout introduced to the championship. The 300 layout was introduced to bring more corners to the circuit, make it a longer lap. But this circuit, located in the Norfolk county, the belly of the UK, we're located here at Snetterton around about 20 miles southwest of Norwich City, and we're about northeast 95 miles of London. And this track is owned by Palmer Motorsports, and its current variation, the 300 layout, is what we race on at the British Touring Car Championship, and is where we will race tonight. Back in the day, I remember it would have been almost like a mini oval circuit, or slow oval circuit, if you want to call that, where it was just the perimeter of this outline of the circuit you can pretty much see right here. That was the circuit back in the day, but introduce more corners. It means there's more overtaking opportunities. It bunches up the pack. It's going to make for some great racing tonight, I'm sure of it. It's a 3-mile circuit, 4.8 kilometres, and there are plenty of iconic names for a lot of these corners that we'll run through at some point later tonight. But the circuit, 12 turns, 7 to the right and 5 to the left. It's quite a lengthy lap here. It's a near 2-minute lap. So, in fact, it's a pretty much bang on 2 minutes average if you average it across the field, or just over. So it's the longest lap of the calendar of the bunch. Okay, so that is a little introduction to the track, and before we head into our qualifying session tonight, let's go through the championship standings as they are heading into tonight. We've done 2 rounds already, round 1 being at Donington Park and round 2 being at Brands Hatch. Tonight, as we head into this round here at Snetterton, round 3 of the championship, it's Matthew Cheverton at the top of the standings, and he's 5 points clear of rival Jaworski. Stephen Fry is on 83 points, about 20 points down from second place, and in fourth place is Ben Bennyworth. Phil McDougall is in 5th position in the Pro-Am category on 63 points, with Mike Barber in 6th position on 60 points. Marcelo Reales was one of the star drivers in the last round at Brands Hatch. He won races 1 and 2, and he's rewarded with 54 points as a result of that, but he did not attend Donington Park. He was a late entrant, so look out for his name later on in the season. Dylan Hunter, 8th position, with Jonathan Gibson in 9th position, and Mark Kent rounding off the top 10. We have multiple categories, as we mentioned earlier on, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a pro category, which is typically the top third of the field, pro-am, which is the middle third of the field, and the lesser experienced lower third of the field is the am category. The pro-am category is headed by Stephen Fry at the moment by 14 points from Mike Barber, Phil McDougall in third place with Dylan Hunter fourth, and Jonathan Gibson fifth. And in the AM category, at the top of their standings is Mark Kent on 110 points. He's 10 points clear of Nigel Stock in second place. Lewis Mason in third position with Thomas Delaney in fourth. And Sean Dobie in fifth position, who won the opening race of the night at Brands Hatch. And who's going to be our opener tonight here at Snetterton? We join the drivers as they head out onto the track for qualifying. We join them just in time. And already a half spin. Yeah, half spin from Lewis Mason, showing off to the cameras there, clearly. But it's quite a hot track out there, as we mentioned. It's 38 degrees track temperature. Yes, it is. So it is very, very hot out there. And hot tracks mean very, very low on grip. So that's what the drivers are going to be dealing with tonight. We are heading towards summer. Spring's nearly over. So we're going to be dealing with hot temperatures. And in these front-wheel drive touring cars, it is quite difficult to handle these cars in the hot weather. Normally they are much more preferable to the colder conditions, which today, as we mentioned, is not that. So championship leader Matthew Cheverton is out on the track at the moment. And he didn't win any races last time out at Brands Hatch. That's overall, I mean, and not in the pro category either, I think. But still leading the championship heading into tonight. He was definitely the force to be reckoned with at Donington Park all them weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. He won races 1 and 2 and nearly won race 3, actually, for that matter. So we'll see how he gets on tonight. Marcelo Reales, we'll see how he gets on tonight. I can't see him in the server at the moment, so we'll have to see what happens there. Okay, so Cheverton is heading around these final couple of corners here at the Snetterton circuit, and we're going to do an onboard lap of this circuit of Snetterton from the view of Matthew Cheverton. There he is, driving down the front straight. And here we go. This is our lap here at Snetterton. We're heading down the main straight right now. Pits to the right, and then we'll head into the fast right-hander here of Riches. Down to fourth gear, 100 miles per hour, just a bit below that. Not taking too much of the off-track outside there. The race stewards have warned that going off-track too much here will deem you liable to track limit violations. And that could get you in trouble with the stewards. Montreal was the hairpin back then. Now we're into Palmer Corner, the corner of which this track is named after its owner, Jonathan Palmer. Now down another straight here, heading to the Agostini hairpin. Probably one of the more popular corners on the circuit. The one that has plenty of an opportunity to overtake. And now we head towards Hamilton Corner here. And it's a near flat out left-hander, fourth gear. And then we're going to be straight onto the brakes for Oggie's Corner, right-hander, down to second gear, one of the slowest corners, if not the slowest corner on the circuit, down to as low as 50 miles per hour then. Now the long right-hander of Williams, it's a rather deceptive corner and just seems to feel like it goes on forever. And you power the throttle at the right time, it will give you a good exit for this long straight, the Bentley straight here. Matthew Cheverton looking down the barrel of this straight here. And as we head into the left-hand ear of Brundle, we're back on the traditional part of the Snetterton circuit that we have pretty much known it for all of our touring car watching history. And we went through the Nelson chicane there, now through Bomb Hole. Don't mishear me on that name there, that is what it's called. And it is a little dip through the corner there, and now the long right-hander here of Coram. Keeping it nice and tight to the inside there, following it around, easing off the throttle, and then lightly getting onto the brakes, ready for Murray's Corner. This seems like a little bit wide there, but it seems like a pretty good lap actually from Matthew Cheverton. I'll see if I'm going to eat my own words there, but it looks pretty good from my point of view. And as he heads across the line, keep it nice and snug towards the wall there to make sure he minimises his turning around that final straight there. And it's a 2 minutes 0.6. Not the quickest we've seen from practice, but it is early doors here in qualifying at the moment. We also had Ben Bennyworth Crossing the line there, 2 minutes, 0.4, so not a bad opening lap for Ben Bennyworth either in the pro category here. Now there's a few drivers representing pro category here, other than Cheverton. We have got Piotr Jagielewski as well, but Stephen Fry, I got a feeling he might end up moving into the pro category after tonight, but for now he is still pro-am category from what I've read. But he is to the top of the standings there, and he won race 3 last time out at Brands Hatch, so he is firing on all cylinders. And as he pulls over there to let through his teammate, good to see my boys, the Crest Autosport guys, helping each other out. But look at that, to the top of the standings. AM category driver Mark Kent, leader of the championship in the AM category and 10th in the overall championship, to the top of the standings here on a 2 minute 0.25. That's a very promising opening lap from the full tilt driver. Now, a lot of drivers didn't set valid laps then. Stanley Donaldson's one of them. He missed out last time out at Brands Hatch. He couldn't make the race. Can't remember the reason, but yeah, he couldn't make it last time out at Brands Hatch. But he's back tonight, so we'll see how he gets on. Just checking back in on Cheverton here. Outright fastest second sector. Not the fastest first sector, but is a PB in the first sector. So looking okay for the Aztec Racing driver. And his teammate Lewis Mason seems to be on an okay lap here as well. Let's keep an eye on Sean Doby as well. I think it's a new livery there. He's got half purple and half green. You could say that's resemblant of the BAR livery from the year 2000. Or was it 1999? One or the other. Correct me in the chat, whichever one it was, where they had a tobacco company on one half and the tobacco company on the other half. Not sure if I'm allowed to say or not, but... That's what it kind of reminds me of, albeit different colours, but it's a very cool livery indeed. But something that's very cool indeed is the lap time that Matthew Cheverton has just set. 2 minutes, 0.17. We're not yet in the 1:59s, which is going to be very difficult to achieve, but can be achieved. But Cheverton the top of the standings, and only a couple of hundredths clear of two drivers that have just gone to 2 and 3 in the standings. Joseph Gibson is one of them. Excuse me, I was calling him Jonathan Gibson earlier. It's Joseph Gibson. Do apologise for that, Joe. To second place in the standings for the GWM driver. And third place for Piotr Jagielewski. I don't see his teammate in the server right now, but Jagielewski hasn't had the best of starts to the season. He struggled a little bit, but this third place right here is very promising indeed. He's just 8 hundredths of a second off of top spot Matthew Cheverton, so it's very close indeed on this very long circuit actually. Less than a tenth between the top 7 at the moment. No, it's not. I'm reading the interval there. There we go. Less than quarter of a second between the top 6. That's still very close on a 2 minute lap. It's got to be said. So, other drivers that are on good laps. Now, this might have been the hump for the tyres. A lot of yellow sectors out there. So we'll see if Matthew Cheverton heads back into the pits to get fresh tyres. We're over the halfway point in the session already. Not many laps can be achieved in qualifying here at Snetterton. Just a 15-minute session. And they've only really done 2 flying laps. And realistically, if they're straight in the pits and straight back out, they can get another 2 in. But not quite like Brands Hatch, where we're seeing drivers set at least 15 laps on that track just 2 weeks ago. But Cheverton stayed out. He did another lap. It was about 3/10 slower than his previous. So he must feel there's some life still in those tyres. But there are a couple of drivers who are in the pits, like Mike Barber, Lewis Mason, and Carl Thompson at the moment. There's a couple of drivers not out on the track. Trevor Sharp is not on the track at the moment. And we've got Steve Johnson and Sean Doby haven't set laps yet. And Sean Doby might be about to complete a lap here. In fact, he will. So we see Joseph Gibson crossing the line. He didn't set a good lap there, but Sean Doby crosses the line. It's an invalid lap. It's something that drivers might struggle with tonight. It's not as inviting as other tracks to go off track here, not like Silverstone, that's for certain, but it can be occasions where you can go off track and accidentally get yourself an off track penalty which invalidates your lap straight away. But someone who hasn't invalidated their lap is to the top of the standings here, only by 13 thousandths of a second. Doesn't matter, it's still top of the pops here. It's Mark Kent in the AM category, supposedly. He's to the top of the standings here in the 94 full tilt car. Brilliant lap there. He's showing real good pace on this Snetterton circuit at the moment. And the drivers, their categories are signalled by the colours of the numbers we can see up there. Red numbers are AM category drivers, black numbered drivers are Pro category, and white number plates are Pro-Am. That's how you can tell them apart in their categories. And of course, they do get points for where they finish overall. They do also get points for where they finish in category. So it's important that not only they are above their competitors, but the more positions they can get overall, the better their championship is all around. So it's crucially important that they do well in every department. And that's what makes for such great racing here. You'll see category to category battles as well as inter-category battles on the track are plenty. Now, the last 5 minutes of qualifying here, not much time for drivers to get their remaining laps in. There are not many drivers now in the pits. The only one I can see is Mike Barber. He doesn't seem to be setting off from the track map I can see there, but someone who is on a good lap at the moment, heading their way towards the line, is Joseph Gibson. Might this be the first 159 we see of the night? Oh, I don't think it was. It was. Yes, it was. The timing screen playing tricks on me. It was a 159.77 for Joseph Gibson. A brilliant lap there to put him top of the standings and 0.36 clear of anyone else at the moment. But Piotr Jagiellewski was right in front of him, giving Joseph Gibson the tow there. But he himself got an even better lap. He would have put himself into pole position for literally a second. Second place for him overall, though. This is a much better showing than the previous 2 rounds for Jagiellewski. Brilliant at the moment. 3 different categories in the top 3 at the moment. We've got Pro-Am at the top, Pro in second, and Am in third place. And you might be wondering, why are there Pro-Am category drivers and Am category drivers towards the top of these standings? Now, there's something to bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that categories can change after tonight's round. And then once they are locked in place after tonight's round, when the admins decide what categories drivers should actually go into, that's it. They're then locked into the season. But for now, we have got the preliminary categories. They were provided based on some pre-season analysis, but also analysis from previous seasons at Next Gen Racing. But remember, they still score points based on their overall position, so that is equally important to consider here. Now, Mike Barber's on an outlap, so he will get at least one chance to go again. Cheverton's in the pits. If he's quick enough, he can get another lap in, but this is real tight for him. Consider it's a 2-minute lap, 2.5 minutes remaining under that now, so this is going to be close quarters for Matthew Cheverton to get back around the track, particularly as he has to warm up the tyres. So we'll see how he gets on. Joseph Gibson's heading out the final corner at the moment. We're all on amber sectors at the moment, so this might not necessarily go quicker. That's Dylan Hunter off into the pits there. He's called it a night, I think, on qualifying. But a fast lap there from Piotr Jagiellewski. He went quicker, but he stays in second at the moment. He's into the 159s, and he's within a 1/10 and a quarter of Joseph Gibson. Not the drivers we would have expected at the top of the field at the moment. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, the drivers also have ballast on their cars, as we mentioned. So if I just reveal this graphic here, this tells you not how much ballast is allocated to all the drivers, but how many drivers will have ballast allocated to them. The top 10 in the Pro category, the top 5 in the Pro-Am category. And I think that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing drivers fall to the lack of benefit of the success ballast, which is essentially more fuel to make the cars weigh a lot more. And it just, as we spoke to Stephen Fry last week, he basically said it just changes everything with the car. Top end speed, braking stability, handling through the corner, acceleration out of the corner. Everything is affected, so it's incredibly difficult for these drivers to adapt to. Lewis Mason into third place, just behind Am category rival, you could say, Nigel Stock, as he nearly crept over the white line there to invalidate his lap. But we are heading towards the 15-minute mark of this session, and there's not many drivers. There's a couple of drivers on outlap, so presumably they're going to be getting in a little bit of extra practice here, knowing that they won't be able to get around the lap and complete another lap. Now, Matthew Williamson might be able to get another one in here. Matthew Williams. He might be able to get another one in here. As he crosses the line. See if he goes high. It was PBs in sectors 1 and 2, and he does go quicker. He goes to a 2-minute 2 lap. Now, Jaworski into the pits. He has called it a day on qualifying. Also in the pits is pole sitter at the moment, Mark Kent. But straight across the line just then we saw Andy Oldhouse, 13th position, goes up to 7th place overall. Brilliant final lap from Oldhouse. He might be able to squeeze in another here as well if it's a good enough lap. Carl Thompson is going into the pits. He's called it a day on qualifying. Mark Kent, he has as well. Trevor Sharp, debutant tonight. Let's see how he gets on in his first night at NXTCC. And a little bit of an internet blip there is not a good start, unfortunately. And I think he may have headed into the pits there. Nope, he's back, and he did cross the line, so let's see if he gets a valid lap. But Ben Bennyworth will cross the line next. He's in pro category, but he's only 8th at the moment. He's going to see this lap through. Trevor Sharp did not set a valid lap just then. Bennyworth crosses the line. Does not go any higher. Dylan Hunter stays off the track, goes into the pits. And only one more driver could complete a lap here, and it will be Stanley Donaldson. Missed last time at Brands Hatch. So let's see if this goes higher. From 12th, it does. 5th position, brilliant final lap. Very clutch from Stanley Donaldson there to get himself much higher in qualifying here. But our pole sitters, it's a 1, 2, 3 for each category, and it is the outright pole position held by Joseph Gibson. Fantastic lap from him to get the outright pole position, and Jagielewski in 2nd position and first of the pro category drivers, and Mark Kent is 1st position of the AM category drivers. So it's a very interesting grid we're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen. I imagine a lot of the categories might change after tonight, and ready for Thruxton in a couple of weeks' time. And to be precise, it'll be on the 3rd of June. So a very fast track in very hot weather, potentially. So that will be very interesting. It'll be my first time observing any form of iRacing on Thruxton Circuit. So I'm very much looking forward to that one. But we got Snetterton tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to be heading into the race session next. Their drivers are currently receiving a driver's briefing, and that's basically to outline any issues there may be on the track that they need to look out for, such as track limits violations, general racing standards, i.e. contact, that sort of thing. And they're receiving their briefing from the race control at the moment, and they'll be back with us ready for the race very shortly. So a little bit more housekeeping before we get things back underway. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is a 3-race night. We got race 1 coming up very, very shortly in, it says about a minute's time, but it'll probably be more like 2 minutes time. But that'll be race 1 of the night. And we got a second race later on, which will be around about 10 past 9 o'clock UK time. And then the final race of the night will be at approximately 10 o'clock UK time. And that'll be race 3. And remember, that's a reverse grid. And it'll be a draw of the spin the wheel, ranging from position 6th to 12th. And any of those numbers can get drawn from our spin the wheel. And the number drawn will be the number of the position that is the start of the reverse, based on the results of race 2. So those race 3 results, particularly the larger the number, the more exciting the racing. That's usually how it works. We've had number 6 and 7 so far. Maybe tonight we'll get 8. Who knows? Okay, so drivers still receiving their briefings at the moment. So, if you are a touring car racer on iRacing and you like the look of this series and you want to get involved, it is a series that is catered for all skills of drivers. It doesn't matter how good you are or how bad you think you are. Anyone can get involved in this series. It is a series catered for all, as we mentioned. It has the Pro, Pro-Am and Am categories, which any skill of category will fit, any skill of driver will fit into any of those categories. So don't be afraid to get involved. There is an entry fee to get involved. It helps keep NXTGEN funded, helps run the show. All goes towards running this championship, which just gets better and better season on season. And speaking of seasons, we're in our 9th season at the moment of this championship. But as I said, if you want to get involved in the racing, scan the QR code on the off center of our screen there, and that'll give you access to the Next Gen Racing Discord server. And just finally, before we head into the race very shortly, a big shout out to Next Gen Racing sponsors, partners and affiliates that include PowerMax Racing, Mark Sykes Designs, Benji Sim Photos, Motorsports UK, Esports Division, Sam Cases, Moser Racing, Joyce Design, Falconer PC, and our title sponsor, Doble Motorcycles. And this is round 3 of the championship. In 2 weeks, we'll be at Thruxton Circuit. And of course, this is a season aligned to the British Touring Car Championship. We're racing on mostly 90% of the tracks that the British Touring Car Championship have. Round 6, you notice that at Croft is not a track on iRacing just yet, sadly. We saw the news that, well, I've seen the news, that Croft is not going to be coming until a future season, which is a big shame, but we'll see it along in the future, but it won't be in time for this season. Next Gen Racing will announce the track that will replace Croft for round 6. It will be a track similar in its characteristics, similar in its length, and it will replace round 6 at Croft for a round akin to that circuit. Now we're heading into the race. Oh, I thought we were heading into the race just then, but we're just going to have to wait a little bit longer. There we go. We have got gridding information from Race Control. And here we go, round 3 at Snetterton. This is our grid for the opening race of the night. A fantastic qualifying from Joseph Gibson. He'll line up on the front row next to Piotr Jagiellewski. Mark Kent will line up 3rd position with Matthew Cheverton in 4th position. He's our championship leader. Stanley Donaldson in 5th position with Mike Barber alongside in 6th, making it a Quatermass 3rd row. Stephen Fry in 7th position with Andy Oldhouse in 8th. And rounding off the 5th row is Ben Bennyworth and Nigel Stock. Lewis Mason will line up 11th position with Dylan Hunter alongside in 12th. And on the 7th row of the grid will be Mark Hughes and Phil McDougall. 15th is Carl Thompson with race 1 winner from last time out at Brands Hatch, Sean Doby. And then it's all AM category drivers for the remainder of the grid. In 18th position is Andy Chell with Steve Johnson in 19th position and Matthew Williams in 20th. Trevor Sharp will start at the back of the grid as well. So there's our grid, 21 drivers ready for a race here at Snetterton Circuit. We're nearly lined up for this opening race of the night. Remember, following this race, we got race 2, and it's the results of this race that will form the grid for race 2 of the night. So it's important to get yourself into a good position in this race, not only for points, but your grid position for the next race. If qualifying didn't go so well for you, you can pick it up in the next race, in this race. We're just waiting on a few more drivers to grid up, and then we'll get going. But we'll see what Snetterton can deliver tonight. Lights are ready for the signal for our 20 drivers, in fact, on the grid. And the lights are red. Now they're out. We're away here at Snetterton for our opening race of the night. It's a great start, actually, from Joseph Gibson. He's hauled it off in front of Jagiellewski, but it's side by side between Cheverton and Mark Kent as we head into turn number 1, but much later braking and turning from Cheverton gets him in front into 3rd place. A good start for the championship leader. Oh, and there's a big spin in the background there. That's Mike Barber into the potato field. And that is race ruined already, potentially, for him, as he's got to get it back out on the track and catch up with the field. Meanwhile, the field are away and through turn number 4 on the circuit, through Palmer as we head down to Agostini now. It is looking pretty good and controlled at the moment for Joseph Gibson. He turns into the corner, and we've got Matthew Cheverton here. He's got plenty of weight on his car, but can he get up closer to the likes of Jagiellewski and Gibson on a track here that's got so many corners, but so many long straights at the same time? It's just having weight on your car is an absolute nightmare at this circuit. Mark Kent on the opening lap there dropped down 1 place, but he's still the highest AM category driver. Nearest rival at the moment is Nigel Stock in 9th place. He's held 2nd place in the AM category to Lewis Mason for the moment. As we head down the Bentley Straight here, we'll head into Brundle and Nelson for the first time. Looking pretty good actually for Joseph Gibson at the moment. He's pulled out a +1 second lead already to his rivals. But Matthew Cheverton had a good run through Brundle and potentially through Nelson there, as he's following Jaworski quite close. And back here, I think we've had a little scuffle here. We might have to go to a replay, but that's Thomas Delaney pulling off the track there. So we'll see what's happened to them. This is Thomas Delaney as we're heading into Brundle corner very, very shortly. Here we go. Oh, the rear end's got loose. And he's just pulled off to basically get out of the way of other drivers. But by the looks of it, other drivers have managed okay with that one. But Thomas Delaney drops down a fair few positions. And side by side here, between Bennyworth and Stephen Fry, is a car off to the side there. That's Trevor Sharp coming out of the pits to start his race, albeit late. But he's pulled out of the way of other drivers. It might not have helped Stephen Fry a little bit there. He might not have been able to fight back so easily then. But he's down to 7th place here as Ben Bennyworth has had a brilliant start. 3 places gained overall from his starting position. Biggest gainer at the moment, 4 places gained for Phil McDougall. He's up to 10th position. So into that top 10, crucially. Matthew Cheverton into 2nd position here. He had passed Jaworski, and this is how he did it. This is heading into turn number 2 by the looks of it. And look at that, that's Trevor Sharp getting out of the way on the inside there, but that might have actually helped out Matthew Cheverton a little bit. It might have distracted Jaworski a little bit. Jaworski did try and guard the inside, but Cheverton was able to get it nice and cleanly to the inside. And actually on this lap, he has rapidly gained on Gibson so far. It's nearly half a second behind now, so this has been a brilliant comeback lap here from Cheverton. Jaworski looking to the inside there, but thought better of it. Oh, and Gibson's gone off the track there. Wow, big mistake there from the pole sitter, and he's dropped now down to 4th position behind Mark Kent. So let's just see what happened to him there. Let's get the onboard. Listening carefully. Oh, nowhere near hard enough on the brakes. Potentially too late on the brakes. And that just sends him off. A little bit of a lapse in concentration. And now he's holding up the rest of the pack here by the looks of it. Stanley Donaldson's to his outside here. Oh, this contact between the two. They just about get away with it. But as we head into turn number 1 of Riches, who's going to be later at the breakers? There's not much of a braking zone here. But Donaldson hanging around the outside here. He's going to have the outside for the next hairpin though, which surely isn't the best line. But what can he do? He's much later on the brakes and he's through. Brilliant overtake from Donaldson. I just wonder if Gibson has a problem right now, because his brakes just do not seem to be confident underneath him. But our race leader, we got a bit of a scuffle to the back here. I think Thomas Delaney might have been involved. There's another driver off there. That's Andy Chell. So let's just see what's happened here between these drivers. Andy Chell, Carl Thompson, potentially Mike Barber involved in it as well. That's in front. That is Carl Thompson, as we just mentioned. Andy Chell going off the track there. As we head into the hairpin, a bit too late on the brakes there was Andy Chell. He goes into the back of Carl Thompson. Oh, and as Andy Chell tries to edge forward, his teammates collected in that. Now, Carl Thompson went off the track, but he was able to carry on. Didn't lose too much. He lost a bit of time, but not too many positions. Look at this scuffle here for 4th position. Joseph Gibson trying to get back involved, but Bennyworth has snuck back in front here as he's able to get it across and contend potentially with Donaldson there, but he backs out of it, not to fight too hard with his teammate. Gibson's having an absolute mare here at the moment. 1st place to 6th place on the 3rd lap here. Look at this. This is Oldhouse versus Nigel Stock. But Oldhouse stays in front of Nigel Stock for the time being for 8th position. And Stephen Fry helping his teammate potentially behind him there, battling with Oldhouse. Let's see if Fry can dispose of Gibson, who seems to be struggling at the moment, because the Quatermass drivers might be able to make a break for it. As they can work together, bump draft each other potentially, and break away from the pack. But speaking of breaking away from the pack, Cheverton and Jaworski have broken away from the pack, battling for 4th place, and Mark Kent is kind of following them along. He's in a very good spot here. This is very, very good performance at the moment from the full tilt driver, and looking like a pretty convincing AM category win at the moment. Side by side between Lewis Mason and Dylan Hunter, heading into the hairpin of Montreal. Keeping it out wide is Lewis Mason, trying to get a late apex, powering it out of the corner. And is he going to try and go for the inside? No, Dylan Hunter has it covered off for the moment. But it was a very cleverly thought move from Mason, but Dylan Hunter was able to defend it easy enough. We'll check back in on this battle very shortly. Donaldson and Bennyworth trying to work together. There's a little bit of bumping out of the corner there from Bennyworth, trying to get Donaldson pushed out of the corner. As we head into Oggies here, they can see the top 3 stretching away a little bit at the front there. But behind them, Gibson is just about hanging on for the time being, but he's got a little bit of pressure behind from Stephen Fry just back there. Not enough pressure to threaten a move just yet. But look at this. We've got side by side between Donaldson and Bennyworth. Bennyworth is on the right side, the inside for the corner. And he's through. Bennyworth's into 4th place. 5 places gained for Bennyworth in this race so far. Gibson, the front of a trail of cars here. It's Gibson from Fry, Aldhouse, Stock and McDougall at the back of it. McDougall, one of the biggest gainers of the field so far. 4 places gained. Not as many as Bennyworth, but still plenty of places gained. Remember, bonus points for drivers who can gain the most places. I believe it's per category. Fastest lap of the race for Jaworski. This is much improved this time around for Jaworski. He struggled at Brands Hatch, he struggled at Donington, but this time around is so much better. His teammate's not here. Jaworski, who's 2nd in championship heading into tonight. It might well be a missed round, which will end up being a drop round for Jaworski. But hopefully we see him back in 2 weeks at Thruxton, as Jaworski really is letting up here. Jaworski probably doesn't have anywhere near as much success ballast from the championship standings as Matthew Cheverton has. Matthew Cheverton being the #1 driver in the championship at the moment. He'll be struggling with that weight, and that might be what's hampering him a little bit here as we look back to Jaworski just behind. Matthew Kent's no slouch in this race either, 3rd place at the moment, just about hanging on to the back of the duo in front. 2 minutes, 0.26 is lap time at the moment, so qualifying certainly wasn't any fluke. This is brilliant pace from Mark Kent. Look out, AM category drivers for the rest of the night. And the nearest one is Nigel Stock, who, to be fair to him, is not too far behind in the pack here. He's got quite the pack in front of him to get through, to get close to Mark Kent. But as we say that, side by side here, Aldhouse and Stephen Fry heading towards Brundle Corner. They dropped off a little bit from Dylan Hunter. From Joseph Gibson. But Aldhouse is in front. Dropping the Crest Autosport driver, who might be struggling with a bit of weight at the moment on his car, being the top Pro-Am category driver heading into tonight. He's now 8th place overall. This would be the completion of a 5th lap, halfway through the race. Crossing the line there goes Cheverton. No threat yet from Jaworski. He's guarding the inside. He feels some threat to Jaworski at the moment. Just trying to break the toe a little bit there by pulling back out onto the racing line. Jaworski looking to where the corner is, looking to where the braking zone is. That's why he's pulling his car out there. He'll also put his car in the mirrors of Cheverton in front, just to add a little bit of pressure as well. Just look back to drivers further back in the pack here. Mike Barber making his way up a few places. He's back up to 16th place. There's a miserable start of the night for Mike Barber, who's going to spend the rest of the night making back up those places. He has a little bit of an error through the hairpin there. Went a little bit wide, and it invited Delaney much closer to him. Sean Dobie going a little bit wide there. He's on his own a little bit. He's quite a way off Mark Hughes at the moment. He's having a pretty good night here. He's got Carl Thompson right in front of him, but he's 4th in category at the moment, so a good haul of points for him at the moment anyway. What about this battle? We got Gibson right back up on the rear of Donaldson, who's lost a little bit of time to Bennyworth here. He's broken away. And he's going to try and catch up with drivers you can see in the distance there on the horizon. But as we switch back to this battle here for Donaldson and Gibson, battling for 5th position. Gibson struggled at the start of the race, it seems. Potentially with the brakes, it is what it looked like anyway. So he drops back a little bit from Donaldson in breaking in there. He just doesn't seem as confident on the brakes potentially as Donaldson might, or other drivers might. Qualifying was definitely an exception now. We'll see what happens later on in the night. Ballast would shift around a lot for these drivers, so a lot of drivers who didn't have ballast heading into tonight will have some as it stands for the next race, particularly Donaldson, particularly Jaworski. But as we cross the line that time, Matthew Cheverton set the fastest lap of the race, which was a 1 minute 59.96, just 200ths quicker than Jaworski, who previously held the fast lap. Oh, and as he got very close there, braking late into the hairpin was Jaworski. He just about avoided the rear of Cheverton, and it cost him a little bit of time and gap from the aforementioned driver. And we just missed there a move from Mason on Dylan Hunter, and that was heading into Montreal, and that is to take 11th place in the race at the moment. Oh, going a bit wide there was Dylan Hunter, had to slow it on the exit. To the inside goes Mason, and through he goes. But we must switch back because Gibson, I think, has just got himself in front of Donaldson. He has, and here's how he did it. So this is heading out of Palmer, and this will head down to Agostini. It's not a bad exit from Gibson, but it looks like it's going to be later on the brakes. He just about gets it to the inside. Donaldson giving plenty of room, and through goes Gibson. Thank you very much, is what he'll say. And the old house is having a good race here. He's got himself in front of Stephen Fry just a lap or two ago, and he's gaining on Stanley Donaldson here, who's lost a little bit of pace in the last lap. Dropped back a little bit from Gibson. We'll see if it comes back to him. But Gibson, who was pole position in this race, 5th position, he certainly won't be happy with that position at the moment. But there's a chance he might be able to catch back up with Ben Bennyworth and potentially put a battle down for 4th position in this race. Best Autosport drivers here. Stephen Fry. Oh, it was not such a good line through Murray's corner there, and he's got Nigel Stock right behind him, potentially pushing him along. No, not quite close enough to push along. The Crest Autosport logo there. But he's looking to the inside, potentially guarding it for Phil McDougall as well, as he's lurking around here. To the outside he goes of Nigel Stock. Can Stock hold the inside because McDougall's going to be coming back? He does. Stock thinks wisely of that and guards the inside on the exit of the corner. No move yet from Phil McDougall. Stephen Fry has got a lot of weight on the car and is potentially hampering him a little bit here. He's dropped 1 place from where he started, and he's our last outright race winner of this series, winning race 3 at Brands Hatch outright. Just to check in on the front, Cheverton still clear by a stretch there. As we're seeing side by side, also still between Hunter and Mason. Good battling between these two. Lewis Mason trying to warm up his tyres a little bit more. Mike Barber has just moved into 15th place, also past Sean Doby. And this is how Mason got it done against Hunter. Mason becoming the Hunter. Oh no, sorry, Hunter is the Hunter here. Getting past Mason potentially. Yeah, getting it alongside and his nose in front, but Mason fighting it back. That's what actually happened. So they were both the Hunter there. But anyway, moving on from bad jokes. Showing at the front. Still nothing from Jaworski here to challenge the move. But we've got Mark Kent here all on his own here. This would be nice haul of points for Mark Kent. He'll certainly take this. Bennyworth in 4th, our biggest mover of the grid at the moment, 5 places gained. And Joseph Gibson dropped some of the largest places of the grid with the exception of Mike Barber. 5th place from pole position at the moment. Donaldson is heading the biggest group pack of the race at the moment. A five-way battle, albeit a little gap between Oldhouse and Stephen Fry at the moment. Oldhouse having a very good race here. Third position in Pro-Am category. And chasing down for second place potentially with 2 laps to go. Mark Hughes has broken away a little bit from Carl Thompson. 4th place in the AM category at the moment. Just checking back in on Mike Barber here. There's very little you can do when you've dropped about half a minute to the pack. Oh, as Lewis Mason has gone a bit wide there, heading out of Montreal. But it's not going to threaten his position at the moment. He's actually opened up a little bit of a gap to Dylan Hunter. Cheverton has had a good last few laps. Actually, the last lap was a 2 tenths and a half. Quarter of a second quicker than Jagiellewski. He's opened it up a little bit. It seems to ebb and flow between these two drivers. I'll be interested to see how Jagiellewski can cope with the ballast in the next race, because he'll be hit with much more ballast in the next race, having finished second in this race as it stands anyway. Cheverton will have no different on his car. He'll still have top ballast. Look at this, Oldhouse getting very close to Donaldson. Oldhouse gets this done. It'd be one of his better finishing positions in category of the season. Championship leader, Stephen Fry in 4th place at the moment in the Pro-Am category. Could be argued that he might be moving up to Pro category for the next race. We'll have to see. Cheverton has stretched it to over a second as we start the final lap very, very shortly. He's in a very good spot to take yet another race win, is Matthew Cheverton. This will be his 3rd of the season. As he crosses the line to start said final lap right now. Oldhouse has dropped back a little bit from Donaldson. It's invited Stephen Fry back in. This will be the battle for 7th place potentially. Nigel Stock has dropped off a little bit from Stephen Fry. Still under a little bit of pressure from Phil McDougall in the CXR car. Gaining a little bit under braking there. No moves yet. Look at this. Breaking away here is Matthew Cheverton. 1.2 seconds clear of Jagiellewski. Been another exemplary performance from Cheverton. He qualified 4th, I might remind you. Struggled a little bit in qualifying. But not a huge amount really in the race. Very clinical. Took 3rd place right at the word go. Got past Gibson with his mistake, and then eventually Jagiellewski to complete it. Bulk of the corners done and dusted here, and he'll head towards the finish very shortly. Let's just check in on this battle back here. Donaldson has seemed to have done okay against Oldhouse behind him, to which he's broken away a little bit from Stephen Fry here, so we might not have many last lap battles here. A lot of drivers might actually say, you know what, I'll settle into this position and I'll think about race 2 coming up next. Oh no! However, wide then went Cheverton. Nothing came up on the events, but he must have made a little bit of a mistake heading out the corner. He's going to hold the inside round Coram here, but Jagiellewski might just fancy a go at the inside here at Murrays to see if he goes for it. No, he doesn't. So a little bit sideways under braking there. Now Cheverton with a little bit of pressure felt on the final lap there in the end. And a flash of lights there for Jagiellewski to say, well held, well done. GG's. And it is GG's for Matthew Cheverton. 3rd win of the season here at Snetterton. Jagiellewski with his best results of the season so far. He's 2nd place overall and 3rd place overall. A win in the AM category for Mark Kent. Brilliant pace from the full tilt driver. 3rd position for pro category driver Ben Bennyworth, who's the biggest mover of the field of 5 places gained. Joseph Gibson, winner of the Pro-Am category here. He did get pole position overall. He'll feel a little bit unjust by the, what happened to him earlier in the race. Be a bit unimpressed with himself, but he still wins in category. Donaldson's 2nd position on his return to the series, with Oldhouse 3rd place, one of his better results of the season. 2nd position in AM category is Nigel Stock, 9th place overall and 11th place overall, but 3rd place in category, in the AM category that is, Lewis Mason. But your overall race winner was Matthew Cheverton. And that'll extend his championship lead at the top. And with his championship rival Jaworski not racing tonight, taking it as a drop round presumably, this helps Cheverton, because the more points he can score in the absence of Jaworski, the better. That's normally how drop rounds tend to ebb and flow between drivers. So, race 1 is complete, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be heading to race 2 in the next 25 minutes. In approximately 15 to 20 minutes, we'll be back on with live pictures as the cars join in unison as they head towards the pits. That's a nice picture. Hopefully Benji Sim Photos gets a nice shot of that warm down lap heading towards Brundle Corner there. But speaking of Benji Sim Photos, in the interval, ladies and gentlemen, you get to see some of the fantastic screenshots that Benji Sim Photos, one of our partners here at Next Gen Racing, takes of these cars round by round and showcases them for this league. And so the drivers can use the pictures for promotional material and to send to their sponsors, and generally to help promote their own teams, their own sponsors, and the league itself. Enjoy the slideshow of those pictures in the interval very shortly. But we're going to go through the provisional classified results of this opening race of the night here at Snetterton. Matthew Cheverton takes the win, and the win in Pro category, with Piotr Jagielewski in second position, his best result of the season. Top of the AM category, but third place overall is Mark Kent with Ben Bennyworth, biggest gainer of 5 places, gets fourth place overall and third place in Pro category. Joseph Gibson, fifth position, dropping from pole position to fifth position, but we'll see how he gets on with races 2 and 3. Stanley Donaldson on return to the series following a week off last time out at Brands Hatch, sixth position for him. Andy Aldhouse, one of his better results of the season, is 7th, with Stephen Fry in 8th position. Nigel Stock 9th, and rounding off the top 10 overall here is Phil McDougall. Lewis Mason 11th from Dylan Hunter in 12th. Mark Hughes 13th from Carl Thompson. Mike Barber fought back a few positions, but following his lap 1 incident is down to 15th. Sean Dobie in 16th. 17th is Thomas Delaney. 18th is Matthew Williams. And Steve Johnson is 19th from Andy Chell in 20th. And 21st, a lap down, was Trevor Sharp. And just to mention, ladies and gentlemen, Pro-Am category, the winner of that category was Joseph Gibson, so he will take max points for the Pro-Am category. Stanley Donaldson is in second position and Andy Aldhouse is third. Whereas in the Am category, third place overall, but still a win and maximum points in category for Mark Kent. Nigel Stock, second position from Lewis Mason, rounding off the podium in the Am category. Before we head for a break, let's just check out lap 1 and see what actually happened to Mike Barber at the beginning of the race then. So here we go. Mike Barber is right in the middle of our screen. He's the middle Quatermass driver there. Oh, I'm afraid to say it just kind of looked like that Mike Barber just kind of turned across and it was still the car of Stephen Fry alongside him there. This just gets a little bit closer to see it from another angle. This might be a better angle of that incident between the two drivers. Yeah, it just kind of looks like Mike Barber just turns right. And there he goes off into the field. Sorry to the farmers there, but that is race considerably ruined for Mike Barber there. But we are going to move on from this, ladies and gentlemen. This is round 3 of the championship here at Snetterton. That was race 1. We're going to be heading to race 2 very shortly. Don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy some screenshots, some photos from Benji Sim Photos. We'll be back very shortly with some exciting racing in race 2.
Hello and welcome to NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to NXTGEN Racing live on YouTube. This is round 3 at Snetterton of the NXTCC Season 9, featuring the Blue Lobby. Live on YouTube here on Wednesday nights, but the drive's actually raced on Tuesday. A little bit about the series before we continue on with our nights. This is the Season 9 NXTCC, hosted by NXTGEN Racing. My name's Alex Everett, your commentator for tonight and all 10 rounds of this championship. A big shout out to our partners, sponsors and affiliates here at NXTGEN Racing. That include PowerMax Racing, Mark Sykes Designs, Benji Sim Photos, Motorsports UK Esports Division, Sam Cases, Moser Racing, Joyce Design, Falconer PC and Doble Motorcycles. You can get involved in NXTGEN Racing, you can get involved in this series. If you scan the QR code just to the off-centre of our screen here, there's a QR code there which will give you access to this NXTGEN Racing's Discord server if you scan said QR codes. You can also click the link in the description to get access to our Discord server. From there you'll meet the drivers, you'll also meet the admins, and you'll be able to sign up to all the racing series that NXTGEN Racing hosts, including this NXTCC, hosted on Tuesday nights, but streamed on Tuesday nights for the Orange Lobby, and streamed on Wednesday nights for the Blue Lobby, this one you're watching here. There's also a GT3 League on Thursday nights, which is coming to its conclusion, but I'm sure there'll be future seasons of said league. And there's also the Legends Coupe 34 League, on alternate Tuesday nights here at NXTGEN Racing, coincided with this NXTCC Championship. This is a championship catered for all skills of drivers, no matter how good you think you are, no matter how bad you think you are. Get involved in the series. It is a series catered for all capabilities of drivers. And these are the rounds we are undergoing this season. We started off all them weeks ago at Donington Park National Circuit, and it was round 2 at Brands Hatch Indy. And today we're here at Snetterton for the 300 layout. In 2 weeks' time, it's round 4 of the championship, and that'll be at the fastest track on the calendar. Thruxton hosts round 4 of the championship. Alton Park hosts round 5 of the championship with the iconic and traditional island layout. And then round 6, it'll be a rendition of Croft Circuit TBC. Round 7 of the championship will be hosted at the Knockhill Circuit in Scotland. And then round 8 we're back to Donington Park, but it will be the Grand Prix layout for that visit there. Round 9, our only visit to Silverstone of the season, is the traditional national circuit, the shorter, simpler layout of Silverstone. And then round 10 of the championship will end at the traditional ending venue of the BTCC. It'll end our NXTCC. It's Brands Hatch Grand Prix Circuit. And that's all the way up until September, so a long series here. Plenty of time for drivers to get their practice in. Plenty of time for the drivers to prepare for each round. And for tonight, most corners of most of the tracks on the calendar for this season. It's the longest lap of the calendar as well, of a lap just under 2 minutes if you're optimal with the rest of the field. 1 minute 59 is the quickest we've seen from our quickest drivers tonight, and those times were set in race 1 by Matthew Cheverton and Piotr Jagielewski. As we join the live action here, we've got a few moments to go before we head into the next race of the night. But we just had race 1 of the night, to which the winners in each of those categories were Matthew Cheverton in the Pro category, won the race outright. He started 4th on the grid, but that didn't stop him. He finished top of the pile for the race and got maximum points. In the Pro-Am category, despite qualifying pole position outright, he fell to 4th place in the end in the race, but it was a win in the Pro-Am category nonetheless for Joseph Gibson. In the AM category, they're all talking about him. Mark Kent, all congratulating him as well. Mark Kent with the win in the AM category, but not only that, 3rd place overall in the race as well. A fantastic drive from the full tilt driver in that opening race of the night. Other AM category drivers commenting on how hard Mark Kent is going to beat tonight. So we'll see. We'll see how the night pans out. We did see an incident towards the start of the previous race from Quatermass driver Mike Barber. He's in the pits at the moment, so we can't switch to him. But Mike Barber straight away apologised to Stephen Fry in the chat there. So, you know, we could see he turned right. You know, he thought there was no car alongside him, and he is fairly sure, and he's probably right actually. His spotter said it was clear. Sometimes the in-game spotter can be wrong. It's something to bear in mind. And that might have been the case with Mike Barber there. It cost his own race, and he held his hands up to it. Which it's great when drivers do that. They admit to mistake. And it was great that there was no maliciousness involved in that. Not that I thought there was, and not that we thought there was anyway. But yeah, it's good to keep an eye on the chat in the Discord on the drivers. And of course, in the link in the description, you can get access to the Discord. That will help you get involved in this series. But also, you can just join as a Next Gen Racing fan. Link in the description for Next Gen Racing Discord server. And we're shortly approaching our next race of the night. Another 20-minute race. The grid will be formed by the results of race 1 as they were. So Matthew Cheverton will start at the front for this race. What's also going to shuffle about is the success ballast, the amount of weight that the drivers will carry on their car. The drivers who finish higher in their categories, or overall, whichever position is higher, they will carry the weight of said success. So Mark Kent finished 3rd overall, but he finished top in the AM category, so I believe he'll still receive top AM category allocated success ballast. And the race is too confusing to go through. So we'll just head into the race, kind of analysing the success ballast of the drivers as we head through. So here we go. This is the grid for our next race of the night, race 2, and these are based on the results, as we mentioned, of race 1 earlier on. Matthew Cheverton won the race, so he starts pole position. Jagielewski will start 2nd position, with Mark Kent 3rd position again on the grid for this race. Ben Bennyworth in 4th position, with moving up the most places in that previous race, so keep an eye on him in this race. Joseph Gibson 5th position, highest of the Pro-Am category drivers. Alongside him is Stanley Donaldson, with Andy Oldhouse in the 3rd position of the AM category in 7th position. Stephen Fry is 8th position from Nigel Stock in 9th, rounding off the top 10. On the grid here will be Phil McDougall. 11th place, Lewis Mason, with Dylan Hunter alongside in 12th. Them two battled all the way through race 1, and they could do again in this race. Mark Hughes will line up 13th on the grid with Carl Thompson alongside. Mike Barber had to make up some positions, having gone off at the start of the race in the previous race. He's got more positions to make up in this race to be in the reverse grid. Sean Dobie 16th from Thomas Delaney in 17th, Matthew Williams in 18th. And I believe we're about to get underway. Very early, but we are underway very quickly as Matthew Cheverton leads us off the line. Oh, and there's drivers struggling to get off the grid there. I think that was Lewis Mason struggling to get off the line there. But it's Matthew Cheverton who leads us into turn 1 with a rather rushed start to the race just then. But we're underway, and leading towards turn number 1 is Cheverton, and into 3rd place straight away is Stanley Donaldson. Brilliant start to this race, but it's Bennyworth who's going to get it back in front into 3rd place. Dropping down many positions is Mark Kent, and he's round, he's spun around. I think that was Nigel Stock in contact with him as well. But 3rd place in race 1, he drops all the way to the near back here. All that work in race 1 and qualifying undone here. We'll go back to a replay of that very shortly when it calms down a little bit here. But into the lead of the AM category at the moment is Mark Hughes. Brilliant start for him in this race. Meanwhile, Gibson and Fry are side by side. Actually, I think Gibson has had a bad exit from Agostini there. We can't quite see him here. But just ahead of him, it's side by side also between Oldhouse and Phil McDougall. Gibson's really struggling at the start of these races. I just wonder if the brakes being cold is just not working out for him. He's got Mark Hughes now to his inside, nearly to his inside. Gibson going a little bit wide on the exit of the corner there. There's another bad start to the race for Joseph Gibson. Leading away at the front here is Cheverton. He'll emerge from underneath the bridge there. A little bit of a gap to Jagielewski at the moment. But it's Bennyworth up 1 place to a crucial top 3 at the moment here. And it is now a pro category 1, 2, 3, the top of the standings. Stanley Donson leading the Pro-Am category. A good start to the race for him. Let's see if we can go back to that instant at the start of the race that we saw from Mark Kent. So here we go, Mark Kent. Well, he dropped a lot of places at the start, actually. So if we just go back to that. Let's get on board with Mark Kent. And as we're about to get underway for the race, let's see what happens at the start here to dropping down all those places, and then we'll go to the replay of the actual incident. Yeah, it's a very bad start. Just sluggish off the line. Didn't quite meet clutch point properly. But if we go to this incident for Mark Kent there, he's in the middle. He's just in the middle of the pack there, and it just spins him around with the car still on his inside there. Let's get back to live pictures. Fry's into 5th place here by the looks of it. He's passed Andy Oldhouse. Gibson's dropped down more places into 9th place now. Mark Hughes leading the AM category still. He's 2 places clear of Nigel Stock, who was involved in that lap 1 incident with Mark Kent at the start of that race. And Mark Kent is in the pit on pit exit, so he's had to take a fast repair as a result. And back here we've got Delaney versus Mason versus Matthew Williams as well. Williams to the inside of Delaney as they tried to go through Hamilton, but couldn't quite complete the move. Delaney was able to power it around the outside. Oldhouse here right in front of Phil McDougall as they head down the Bentley Straight here, battling for 6th place. Look at that, McDougall straight out of the slipstream, trying to get it to the inside, but can't quite get it there. Oldhouse holds on for the moment in the blue car there. McDougall with a good exit there, but it's not quite enough of a run on the way to bomb hole. And no move yet from the CXR driver towards the front. Jagielewski has dropped off a little bit from Cheverton. Cheverton's a 2nd clear. Now we did wonder what's going to happen to Jagielewski here with probably the first high amount of weight he would have had this series so far. Now at the moment he's losing a little bit to Cheverton, who just set the fastest lap of the race. Pardon me, Stephen Fry has actually set the fastest lap of the race. He's in the 59s already. We'll see how Jagielewski gets on tonight with the higher weight he's got on his car. Ben Bennyworth hot on his tail at the moment. Stephen Fry 2nd place at the moment. A bit of wedge shed from his car as he finished 4th in category in the previous race. As we see Mike Barber has passed Mark Hughes for another place overall. Here's how he got it done. I think Mark Hughes went off the track a little bit. That potentially caused this. Mark Hughes is in the black and green car, we can see there. Yep, he goes off the track there. That invites Mike Barber to the inside. And through he goes. So Barber's back up to 10th place. Well, the good thing for him is he's back into the reverse grid spots. It's the 6th to 12th spots as we see Dylan Hunter. They're going off the track there. And to his inside is Joseph Gibson. Very close between the two, heading out of Hamilton. But Hunter stays in front for the moment. But as we were saying, Mike Barber is in reverse grid contention. Position 6th, 12th can be drawn from the reverse grids. The drivers will make sure they're within those spots. And I suppose if you finish in 6th position and 7th, well, near 7th position, you're kind of in that region. Hunter and Gibson side by side again, but Hunter gets back in front, under braking into Brundle corner. Oh, as he runs a little bit wide there, he's going to have to back off a little bit. Back on the tail will go Joseph Gibson as they head through Bomb Hole for the 3rd time on this race. Oh, Hunter's going a little bit wide there, but he goes back to the inside. I did wonder if he was going to allow Gibson to get to the inside of him for the run around Coram, but not to be. Cheverton completes another lap here at Snetterton. And he sets the fastest lap of the race. In fact, the fastest lap of the night of 1:59.66. Brilliant lap from him. No moves yet from many drives, but Mike Barber all over the back of Joseph Gibson. He's not messing around. He's trying to get himself back into the higher positions. He's lost a lot of points from race 1. He's trying to make them back up. He knows he's in reverse grid potential here. but he wants more places. Position swap here. Matthew Williams back ahead of Steve Johnson. And here's how he did it. Side by side here, going through turn number 1. Whoa, very sideways there for Matthew Williams. Well held from the Welshman. But back to the inside as they go through the hairpin there, and he's able to get it back in front. But I think later on there's actually another swap in positions between them. I think Johnson goes back to the inside of him for the next corner. Oh, he does on the exit. That's a fantastic power out of the corner from Johnson there. And I think if we go back to live pictures, they're still battling now as they head into Oggies. Oh no, and wide goes Williams. He's off the track. He's going to lose all that time. And what was looking like a great battle, actually, that headed on past Agostini, through Hamilton and on into Oggie's corner. It is Steve Johnson who's won the battle for now. Great race here from Cheverton. Akin to Donington Park 3 weeks ago. He won races 1 and 2, and it's looking like a 1 and 2 at the moment for him right here. So I think we saw Sean Doby, going off the track. We just have to switch to Sean Doby here. Now, as it stands here, he's in front of Lewis Mason in the half green, half purple car there. This is Sean Doby heading into Brundle and Nelson. Oh, he hits the curb and he just stays hooked to the curb, and it just pulls him onto the grass. And that loses a little bit of time for Doby, and he drops down to 5th place in category. Mason's back into the podium spot. He seems to enjoy finishing 3rd place in the AM category this season. I think he's done so about 4 times this season. But it's good points for Mason. Andy Priol didn't win every single race in the World Touring Car Championship, and he still won 3 championships. But it's Mark Hughes at the top at the moment. He's being hounded a little bit by Nigel Stock, not too far behind him. There he is in view. But Mark Hughes in the lead for the first time, I would say, in the AM category this season. He's got a chance to pick up a win in category at the moment, and so far, so good for him. Checking back in on Mike Barber, still 10th place, right behind Joseph Gibson. He seems to struggle on the early stages of the races, does Gibson? But he warms up as the race wears on. Meanwhile, back to the Pro-Am category. Number 1 battle, 4th and 5th overall, Stephen Fry versus Stanley Donaldson. As they head on to the Bentley Straight. They head towards Brundle Corner. Guarding the inside here is Stanley Donaldson, and Stephen Fry's to the outside. Donaldson's preventing slipstream from Stephen Fry as they head down the straight. They are a little bit side by side, but back here we've also got McDougall trying to get to the inside of Allhouse. He doesn't. Stephen Fry has to try another corner. Oh, a bad exit from Oldhouse. McDougall trying the inside. He can't get it to the inside enough to try a move. But wide there at the corner. McDougall is now to the inside, heading out of the bomb hole. And now through Coram. McDougall has the inside. He'll have the outside for Murrays, but who's going to be later on the brakes? Slipping back there is Oldhouse, but McDougall will be able to get it into the corner first. He's up into 3rd place in category, 6th place overall. Great move from McDougall, advantaging from the mistake of Oldhouse heading out of Nelson Corner. He's rewarded with 3rd place in category, and he can try and focus on catching up with Stephen Fry and Donaldson up ahead. Bennyworth is still right on the tail of Jagielewski, who slipped back to more than 2 seconds behind race leader Matthew Cheverton. Oh, a mistake there from Jagielewski. Powering it out is Bennyworth. He's going to have the outside for Palmer Corner, which is going to be the better line of the two. Let's see how they are through the corner. Bennyworth goes very wide. He's going to take a late apex here to get it back to the inside for Agostini hairpin. Has he got the inside? Oh, he just about has. Is he going to be later on the brakes? Yes, he is. This could well be job done for Bennyworth for the time being anyway. He's got it through. He's into 2nd place. What a brilliant drive Bennyworth is having tonight. He gained so many places in race 1. And in race 2 here, he's up to 2nd place. They've dropped back another second to Cheverton, so that makes the race win not inevitable, but all the more assuring for Cheverton for the moment. Unless he makes a last lap mistake like he nearly did in the previous race. Let's see. Let's see. But Bennyworth holds 2nd now in this race. Donaldson still under pressure from Stephen Fry here. Now Fry will be better off getting right behind Donaldson here and trying to dummy Donaldson into the corner. That would be what I would try and do here, but I'm much more of an aggressive driver, as others will vouch for. But I'm sure Stephen Fry knows what he's doing better than I do. Oh, it's wide back there. That was McDougall going very wide out of Nelson, and that's a corner everyone is really struggling on tonight. And as we mentioned earlier on, it's very hot track temperature out there. So hot track temperatures on iRacing equals no grip. Let's just put it that way. And we're seeing a lot of drivers struggle through Nelson Corner in particular tonight. The AM category, oh, Nigel Stock goes a bit wide there. He's going to lose a little bit of time down this straight here, but it's still Mark Hughes in front in the AM category at the moment. 4 laps to go in this race. Closest battle on the track is these two. It's Joseph Gibson versus Mike Barber. Let's see if Barber can have a good exit from the corner. Wiping away the dirt from his windscreen. We saw there he takes to the outsides a little bit later on the brakes. Oh, I think Barber was trying a bit of an undercut there, but he couldn't quite get it. I imagine the grip on these cars right now with the high track temperatures is affecting that a little bit. Heading into Agostini. Fry's on the outside of Donaldson, trying to power it around the outside to continue the overtake, but Fry goes off the track. That might put him in a little bit of trouble from Phil McDougall right behind him, but he'll drop a little bit of time, will Stephen Fry, to Stanley Donaldson just ahead. And that has put pressure both ways for Stephen Fry as he has to try and catch back up with Donaldson and now defend his position also from Phil McDougall. It was a good effort from Fry, it's got to be said, as Phil McDougall gets a much better exit from Williams there. He's now alongside on the outside of Stephen Fry. And he might well have the inside heading into Nelson Corner, but breaking into Nelson Corner, it's turning and braking, which is very difficult in these cars. But McDougall's through. Fantastic move. Brilliant exit from Williams, which lined it up, and he's passed it into second place in category. Fry's going to try and fight back, and that all came from just trying to get into first place around the outside at Agostini for Stephen Fry on Donaldson, and it just cost him for many corners and half of the lap. To third place he's now. Oh, as Donaldson goes wide, takes a bit of the gravel, slows the car down. Fry might be able to get it alongside, but he's on the left side from the drivers facing, which is not the better line to be on, I would say, for Rich's Corner, unless you are super late on the brakes into turn 1 here. Let's see what happens. I know Phil McDougall is a late braker, but Fry is even later. Is he even nearly went off the track braking so late then? He had to recover it, and Phil McDougall is safely back in front there. Good battle between these two. It's a battle of the later breakers between them, it seems. And Hunter caught up actually with Aldhouse here, might be able to put in a challenge for 4th place. Aldhouse, who finished on the podium in the Pro-Am category in the previous race. But Gibson drops more places. First place, he started in the Pro-Am category, he's getting to 6th in the category, 9th place overall. He's still in reverse grid to contention overall. But he's dropped a lot of points here in this race, and he did so in the previous race as well, as he goes wide there, heading out of Agostini. That's going to put Mike Barber right on his rear, heading around Hamilton. What about Oggie's Corner? Will he be able to dive to the inside? No. Gibson guards the inside, but he switches back to the inside, goes Barber, and they lock together off the track. The pair of them go. That's going to let so many cars by, and Mike Barber, I could just tell he was desperate to get in front there, and he nearly dummied the overtake. Let's just take another replay of that. So this is the view from Mike Barber. The mistake there from Gibson. He takes the outside going around Hamilton. He's not alongside yet, but you can see Gibson was guarding the inside. He swaps to the left. So then Barber swaps back to the right, but the car is unsettled and it wasn't slowed down enough for the apex. That lost them a lot of positions. Mike Barber's down to 13th place, and Stephen Fry, something's happened to him as well. He's down here in 14th place. And this is what's happened to Stephen Fry. He's right behind Phil McDougall as we're heading into Brundle Corner there. Is it similar to what we saw? Oh, the car just slips sideways under braking. Oh, and hits the barrier. That's going to be damage to the car. He's dropped loads of places. So Mike Barber's down to 13th place. Stephen Fry's down to 14th place. Gibson is down to 10th place now and dropped back a lot of time. So that puts Aldhouse back into podium position territory in the Pro-Am category. It's all kicking off in the Pro-Am category tonight. It really is. Still batting close. Am category victor is going to be one of these two. At the moment, it's Mark Hughes holding the lead at the moment. Nigel Stock can't quite find a way past. 2 laps to go in this race, including this one. Donaldson holds the lead of Pro-Am at the moment, and of course leading the the Pro category. 4-second lead at the moment for Matthew Cheverton. A low reverse grid number might suggest that Cheverton has a chance for a three-peat of wins tonight. If all ends well in this race, that is. Barber's back up to 12th place. Back at the inside of Carl Thompson and at Oggies. Thompson's going to fight back here. Gets the position back, i.e. his nose ahead. And as they head towards Williams, not giving much room to the outside driver, Mike Barber there. But he's back through. Back into 12th place. And Stephen Fry is now on the head of the tail of this battle here. But Barber is, he's had a miserable night at the moment. Just hasn't gone his way at all tonight. And he's going to spend race 3 trying to claw it back. And if he can get himself back into 12th place, Stephen Fry be thinking the same as he ducks out of the slow out of the corner. Thompson, and another contact instant there for Mike Barber. And to the inside goes Stephen Fry. He's going to try and get it to the inside of Thompson, but he can't just do it. But the importance of the position that Thompson is in is that is the last of the positions that are eligible for reverse grid. So it is the position with the least amount of chance, but it is a position that can get it. 13th can't. So this is going to be a huge battle for the final lap here. Let's just stick with it for now. Barber at the back of Stephen Fry. They've got 14th, not good enough for Barber. He has to overtake 2 on this lap if he wants to get into reverse grid contention. By the way, right after the results of this race, ladies and gentlemen, we will be doing the reverse grid draw on this live stream here to find out what is the reverse grid. There's Fry's to the inside. Desperate move to the inside at the hairpin there. But I think he's just about made a clean move of it. Into 12th place goes Stephen Fry. Mike Barber has to try something now. He has to do it at Agostini, and he has to do some miracles in the remaining corners to get it up against Stephen Fry. Into Agostini. It's not a dive to the inside. He's running out of corners. Here's Mike Barber. Meanwhile, up here, we still got a battle for the lead in the Pro-Am category. Still a battle further up here for second place in the Pro category. And still so close for the lead in the Am category. It's all happening all over the field here. I don't think there's going to be any move from Phil McDougall unless there is a big dive to the inside. He's moved out of the slipstream but back in it there as we head into Brundle and Nelson. Looks pretty clean there from Donaldson. Nigel Stock up against Mark Hughes here. But up here we've also got Mike Barber has passed Carl Thompson. But we're going to have to grit through. A repeat of wins there for Cheverton. Cheverton at Snetterton is really working out here. It's another win on the night for the Honda driver for Aztec Racing. Second place for Ben Bennyworth. A brilliant night he's having at the moment. Jagelevsky with another strong performance. Third place for him. And our winner in Pro-Am category, it's Stanley Donaldson. I believe his first of the season as well. Phil McDougall with a great race from him. 5 places gained. He gets second. And the Old House in third position in Pro-Am category. But a first-time winner in the Am category this season, Mark Hughes, is 8th place, but first place at the Am category with Nigel Stock right behind. And Lewis Mason in 3rd place at the Am category. And the Old House 3rd place at the Pro-Am category. And coming through in 12th place in the end was Stephen Fry ahead of Mike Barber. So he's in the potential for the reverse grid draw. But he's the driver that's got the least chance of hitting a reverse grid opportunity. So we're going to go to the results very, very shortly, ladies and gentlemen, for this second race of the night, which was very exciting for the final few laps indeed. Plenty of battles all over the field that we were keeping an eye on, and a couple of incidents that added drama into the mix. And let's go to the results of our second race of the night here at Snetterton. Matthew Cheverton takes the win outright in this race by near 5 seconds from Ben Bennyworth. And in second place is the aforementioned Bennyworth. In third place, rounding off the pro category, is Piotr Jaworski. And first of the Pro-Am category, but fourth place overall, is Stanley Donaldson. Fifth place is Phil McDougall with Andy Oldhouse in sixth. Dylan Hunter finishes up seventh with Mark Hughes, highest of the AM category drivers, in eighth position. Nigel Stock ninth from Joseph Gibson, 10th position. Lewis Mason in 11th. And last of the eligible for reverse grid is Stephen Fry in 12th. Mike Barber just missing out on that reverse grid potential is 13th. Looking like a miserable night for him, and he's going to have to make up more places for the final race of the night coming up later. Carl Thompson 14th, with Sean Doby in 15th, with Thomas Delaney in 16th. 17th is Steve Johnson, Matthew Williams 18th, Trevor Sharp in 19th, and Mark Kent and Andy Chell rounding off the field. So, eligible for a reverse grid are the drivers Andy Oldhouse, Dylan Hunter, Mark Hughes, Nigel Stock, Joseph Gibson, Lewis Mason, and Stephen Fry. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's find out who is going to get our reverse grid reward. So here we go, we'll spin the wheel now. 6th to 12th are the positions, and the number... Oh, it's not going to be number 8, it's going to be number 9 for our reverse grid for race number 3 of the night. So that means pole position will be Nigel Stock, who finished 9th overall in that race. If we go back to the results here, Nigel Stock will start on pole position. Second on the grid will be Mark Hughes. And following that great race from Mark, he'd be very glad to be on the front row for this next race. Third place will be Dylan Hunter. Fourth position will be Andy Oldhouse. Fifth position, Phil McDougall. Sixth position will be Stanley Donaldson. Seventh position, Jaworski. Eighth position, Bennyworth. And ninth position, Matthew Cheverton. That concludes race 2 of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Nigel Stock will start on pole position for the next race, but our race winners so far, Matthew Cheverton of both races overall. In the pro category just then in race 2 was Stanley Donaldson, and in the AM category, Mark Hughes. Don't go away, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with race 3 very, very shortly. Enjoy some Benji sim photos while we wait for race 3.
welcome to NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Snetterton for the NXTCC, hosted by NXTGEN Racing, and it's live here on YouTube on NXTGEN Racing TV. On Wednesday nights, these races are broadcast, but of course these drivers are racing on Tuesday nights, and on Tuesday night you would have witnessed the Orange Lobby live on stream as well, presented by Paul Walsh. It's the Blue Lobby tonight, and we're heading into race 3 right now of this third round of the season, the 9th race of this season that is aligned very much to the British Touring Car Championship in terms of what tracks we're racing, in terms of success ballast, reverse grids, etc. And for this grid we got for this race we got coming up very shortly, it's a reverse grid of 9, and we'll go through the grid very shortly before we get racing. But a little bit about the series. This is the NXTGEN Racing NXTCC Season 9. You can get involved in this series if you want to. All drivers are welcome, all skill capabilities are welcome as well. You scan the QR code to the off centre of the screen here, you can get involved in NXTGEN Racing's Discord server. From there you'll meet the drivers, the admins, and have a chance to sign up to the series. If you fail to scan the QR code in the middle of the screen there's also a link in the description that you can click alternatively. Let's give a shout out to our partner, sponsors and affiliates here at NXTGEN Racing that include PowerMax Racing, Mark Sykes Designs, Benji Sim Photos, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Sam Cases, Moser Racing, Joyce Design, Falconer PC and Doble Motorcycles. And as we said, it is a series akin to the British Touring Car Championship. We started off at Donington Park National Circuit, and then it was Brands Hatch Indy 2 weeks ago from today for round 2 of the championship. Today we're here at Snetterton, and in 2 weeks from today it'll be round 4 at Thruxton, the fastest track on the calendar. Round 5 will be hosted at Alton Park, with round 6 hosted at a rendition of the Croft Circuit. What track that'll be, to be concluded. We'll let you know at a future broadcast or future announcements at NXTGEN Racing what round 6 will actually be. Round 7 will be hosted in Scotland for the Knock Hill Circuit, and we're back in Donington Park for round 8 of the championship. Round 9 hosted at Silverstone, the home of British Motorsport. But then the final round of the championship will be hosted at the Brands Hatch Grand Prix Circuit, where most British Touring Car Championship seasons end, and that'll be on the 30th of September to conclude this season, which has been thrilling so far. But it must be said that so far this season, there is one person who really is standing out from the crowd, and it's this guy here, Matthew Cheverton. What a championship he's having so far. He's won 2 races in round 1. He didn't win any races in round 2, but he continued to hold the lead in the championship, scoring plenty of points in that round still. But 2 race wins tonight. He has an opportunity for a 3-peat in this race. He'll start 9th on the grid, but he's got the opportunity to get the race win. 4 race wins from 8 races so far this season for Matthew Cheverton. 50% record. Can he bump it up by 1 race win in this last one? We'll find out. But we have got a reverse grid of 9 from the previous race, as we mentioned. So the top 9 from the race 2 results will be reversed. And that grid will look a little bit like this. Nigel Stock finished 9th in the previous race. He'll start on pole. Mark Hughes starting 2nd position with his first win of the series in the AM category. Dylan Hunter, 1st position of the Pro-Am category drivers on this grid. He'll start 3rd overall. 4th position would be Andy Oldhouse, with Phil McDougall in 5th position and Stanley Donaldson starting 6th. 7th position will be Piotr Jagielewski, with 8th position going to Ben Bennyworth. Brilliant night for him so far. And 9th position was the winner of the previous race, Matthew Cheverton. Joseph Gibson, just missing out on the reverse grid, will start this race from 10th. In 11th position will be Lewis Mason in 11th from Stephen Fry in 12th. Mike Barber will start 13th from Carl Thompson in 14th. Sean Doby 15th from Thomas Delaney in 16th. 17th is Steve Johnson, with Matthew Williams in 18th, and the final 3 positions on the grid will be taken up by Trevor Sharp, Mark Kent and Andy Chell. That's your grid for race 3 tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Nigel Stock starts at the front of the grid. The driver's already revving their engines, eager to get away, preparing themselves for the start of this race. They have a clutch down, and a little bit of throttle, the right amount of throttle and the right amount of clutch point needed to get started off in this race. We saw Mark Kent had an issue starting in the previous race, got off slowly from the line, cost him quite a lot of positions. But we'll see how everyone gets on in this race. Sun setting here at Snetterton, so the sun will be in the eyes of the drivers on certain parts of the track, and already creeping forward. There's a driver at the back there, that's Andy Holthouse, but we're off and away. Good start for Nigel Stock, brilliant start, and a brilliant start for Dylan Hunter as well. But it looks like it could well be a drive-through penalty for Andy Oldhouse very early on here. But as we head into turn number 1, good start also for Phil McDougall as he's through into 3rd place. And up into 4th place here is Stanley Donaldson. Oldhouse has dropped places already. As we head into turn number 1, side by side, Donaldson alongside Oldhouse, and he's through into 4th place. Good start to the race for him. Mark Hughes has dropped a lot of places there. He didn't get a good start. He's dropped to 8th place already, and a long way behind Nigel Stock, his category rival. Round the corner we go. Ben Pennyworth on the outside of Mark Hughes. As we head down to Agostini, still side by side between Hughes, but now Jagielewski, as he's streaked round the outside here, he's trying to make a move round the outside here. We saw Stephen Fry try that on another driver in the previous race, and it hasn't worked for Jagielewski either, as Pennyworth is now back on his inside and through into the place above of 7th position. But at the front, Nigel Stock with a great start, and he leads this race. Hunter in 2nd place, good start for him. Biggest mover so far, 6 places gained for Mark Kent. Brilliant start, much better than race 2. He got himself up to 14th at the moment. No moves yet from Matthew Cheverton. Nice calm start to this race for him. You'll see, well, let's see if he can get a 3-peat of wins, which hasn't been done all that often, not only in the British Touring Car Championship, but in the NXTCC as well. Nigel Stock going a little bit wide on corner exit there. Can't make too many mistakes like that. He's got a healthy lead here. He needs to get his head down, concentrate. But he's got a healthy lead in the AM category at the moment, has Nigel Stock in this race. 3rd place is not Mark Kent, so he's got himself back into good point scoring territory in the AM category anyway. So that is consolation for the disappointment of the previous race, as he looked for a move on Carl Thompson there, but didn't go for it. Oldhouse is in the pits already, jump start, which means he will have to serve the penalty. And what a great night he's been having so far, contending in the top 3 in Pro-Am category all the way through the night. It's going to come undone a little bit here, unless we get any safety cars or red flags. A lot of drivers running wide of the exit of turn 1 there. Google was one of them just then. And I think Jagielewski was another, and Carl Thompson. A lot of drivers really testing the limits of turn number 1 there. Got Lewis Mason passes Trevor Sharp for 6th place in the AM category, and he is how he got it done. Out of the corner, it looked like a pretty good exit actually from the first corner from Riches from Sharp, but it's a big dive to the inside from Mason. He just about gets it alongside, and through he goes. Stock still leads at the front, just shy of a second clear. A little bit quicker so far on this lap is Dylan Hunter in the Hyundai Veloster, and also in the Honda, just like Nigel Stock, is Phil McDougall in this position here. Now Cheverton's moved up 1 place. Stephen Fry has dropped back a little bit. No off tracks from him. Not sure what's happened there. Stephen Fry has dropped back to... no, it's not Stephen Fry that's dropped back. It's another driver that's dropped back. It's Andy Holthouse, of course it is. Right, ignore Alex. He's being an idiot. Yeah, Cheverton's moved up 1 place as a result of the drive-through penalty from Oldhouse. He got a little bit out of shape, did Cheverton, and the braking into the final corner there. I'm just going to check the track temperature. It's quite cool now, actually, 21 degrees. It's a completely different grip on the cars to the previous races. We had 34 degrees in race 1, so it's a big drop in temperature for this race now, which means there's going to be plenty more grip on the cars, but it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable for the drivers. It's going to be not necessarily more grip, but different grip for the drivers. We head down main straight here, 8/10 clear. Hunter was a little bit quicker on that lap. Oh, in fact, actually, no, he wasn't. I can completely take that back. 100th down from Nigel Stock on that previous lap. Oh, and this sideways between Dylan Hunter off the track he goes. There's contact between him and Phil McDougall. Not sure what happened there. We'll have to check the replay. But he's back on the track. He's lost a few places, but he's back on the track and he hasn't lost a huge amount of places. Let's just get a quick replay of how that actually happened. So here we go, heading into Rich's. It was contact between himself and Phil McDougall. McDougall's not even in frame yet. Now he is. Big exit there. Oh dear. Reserve my judgment on that one, but Hunter went a little bit wide there, slowed down, and all of a sudden there was contact. The fastest lap of the second lap of the race there, as we're seeing Hunter guarding from Jaworski, but Cheverton has moved up 3 places. He's had a good lap here as he's passed his nearest rival tonight, Jaworski. Oh, and something's happened. Jaworski has run off wide here. And he's lost a lot of places. He's behind Barber. He's behind Mark Kent now. Loads of places dropped. Let's see what's happened between himself and Hunter. Here we go. Oh, a little bit of side-to-side contact. We're heading into Hamilton here. As we head into Oggies, let's see what happens. Jaworski breaks a little bit too late by the looks of it, goes into the back and they both go off the track. And they've lost places. Hunter's only lost a few to be fair, but Jaworski has dropped to 12th position. Mike Barber's the fastest lap on the previous lap. He's got plenty of positions to make up on this race, and race 2 it didn't go well either for him. But he shuffled up a little bit. Stock still leads. 3/4 of a second from Phil McDougall. Donaldson in second place, and Mark Hughes doing really well. Second place in the AM category, fighting it amongst the Pro and Pro-Am category drivers. But he's got the top 2 from the previous race right behind him, Bennyworth and Cheverton. Let's see what Cheverton can do in this race. 2.9 seconds behind the leader as Bennyworth ducks out to the inside at the hairpin. Nothing Hughes can do except concede it, and Bennyworth through into 4th place. Very daring move there from Bennyworth, but he's into 4th position as we mentioned. And let's see what Cheverton can do against Mark Hughes, who's, to be fair, he's trying to fight it back. Right behind Bennyworth, who's guarding the inside. Is Hughes going to try the inside? No, he's not. And I thought Cheverton was going to try and make a move, although he has put it to the inside. A very late move from Cheverton, and he's made it cleanly and he's made it work. He's up into 5th place. It's getting closer between Stock and McDougall at the front here. This will be the battle for the outright race lead. Half a second behind is Phil McDougall. Looking forward at the blue machine just ahead. And the green machine here to chase down the leader on this straight. Now below 4/10. A little bit of slipstream as well is going to be helping here. Thomas Delaney has made his way past Jaworski. I got a feeling Jaworski went off the track there heading out of Williams. Delaney gets a good exit from the corner. There's a little bit of a shallow entry into the corner as understeered off, and Delaney just hurls on past. Jaworski struggling in this race, it seems. 14th position for him at the moment. He's got Andy Chell around him there. Oh, actually, something might be wrong with Jaworski here. He completely out of control. He did go off the track there, but something seems really off. I think the car's crabbing, actually. Yes, I think he's trying to limp it back to the pits. So some sort of damage must have happened to the Audi there. He's into the pits. Yes, he is. He's going to have to take a fast repair, but what a great night Jaworski was having until this race here. Certainly been a turn of form for him tonight. Now Nigel Stock has gapped Phil McDougall just a little bit, about 1/4 of a second in the last half a lap or so. Fastest lap of the race on that last lap from Joseph Gibson, a 1:59.45. That's the fastest lap of the night. Brilliant stuff from Joseph Gibson, who got pole position, remember, for tonight, but has just gone down and down and down throughout the night. And this is the most places he's gained so far throughout the night. 3 places gained from his starting position. He's up to 7th here. He's battling with Stephen Fry at the moment and on and has done a very fast lap. So let's see if he can catch up with the battle in front and get himself into the higher positions. Cheverton right behind Bennyworth. Arguably Bennyworth has been one of his main rivals tonight as Cheverton goes a little bit wide heading out of Williams. Oh, and something's happened to Trevor Sharp. He was moving up the order a little bit, but something's happened to him heading out of Oggies. And the driver, the newcomer tonight, Sharp heads into Oggies here. Takes a bit too much curb. Oh, and he comes to a stop for some reason. Not too sure what's happened there. But he continues on. Oh, as we've seen, just the end of a move from Cheverton on Bennyworth there. But let's just stick with this for now as Mark Hughes is right on the back of Bennyworth. We'll go to the replay of that move in just a moment's time. Bennyworth is now guarding the inside here. It might have been a mistake from Bennyworth actually. Mark Hughes to the outside of Bennyworth. Hughes is definitely getting stuck in here. He's not frightened to have a go with this bunch here. And on that last lap, the fastest lap of the race is Mike Barber, a 1:58.92 as we see a move from Gibson to the inside of Mark Hughes. Oh, contact between the two and Fry gets collected in as well. But a big move to the inside from Gibson. And it's side by side between it was Barber and Fry, but they've gone back to single file. Fry still behind Hughes. He was caught up in a little bit of contact then. But let's go back to the incident that happened just then to Bennyworth, which conceded the position, but we see just then the end of it. Cheverton gets past Donaldson. He's into third place. Do not write Cheverton off for a race win here. It's so far going so well for him. So here we go. Let's see what's happened to Bennyworth just up ahead. He's right behind Donaldson, his teammate. Oh, a little bit of contact from Cheverton, but he just about gets into the inside. A little bit of contact with Donaldson. Well, a lot of contact actually. But he's through. Not the cleanest overtaking you'll ever see, but he's through. And he's into third place right now with the move he made on Donaldson we just saw a moment ago. Now, Mark Kent has had an incident. He's still running in third place here, though. We're just going to check on that. This is heading into Riches. As we head into the hairpin, what happens? He runs very wide there. I'm not sure why that was classified as a crash on my timing screen, but he's safe and sound. He's still in 10th place. Now back to the front. Stock's dropped a little bit of time from Phil McDougall, but they seem relatively evenly matched when it comes to times. That time and lap just then from Nigel Stock. 1:59.8 from Nigel Stock. A really good lap, actually. And a 2-minute dead 0.1 for... 2-minute 0.1, should I say, for Phil McDougall. He's dropped a few tenths on that lap. But Stock, without any slipstream, is into the 59s, which is quite impressive. Bennyworth makes the move on Donaldson there, past his teammate into 4th place. He's dropped back a little bit from Cheverton here. He has to try and work to get it back up. Now, if Cheverton starts squabbling with McDougall and Stock up ahead, that might invite Bennyworth back. Joseph Gibson. This seems like a much better race for Gibson as he takes to the inside of Donaldson, and he's going to take 5th place here. That was a big move to the inside of Agostini there. It kind of looked like Donaldson kind of let him to the inside, unless Donaldson went a little bit wide, and we didn't quite see that. But Gibson's up into 5th place, and this race is looking much more promising for him. Less than half a second between Stock and Phil McDougall. Between Phil McDougall and Cheverton, there's less than a second. Barber passes Mark Hughes for 8th position. And this is Mike Barber's best race of the night so far. He's had a lot of incidents so far tonight. And that's dropped him down the order in races 1 and 2. But this will be the points he needs back. This race has so far flown by. When we cross the line, there'll be 3 laps to go. Approximately 6 minutes left in the race. And Nigel Stock, obviously I'm the team manager of Crest Autosport. I know Nigel Stock needs a win for himself. He's not been feeling the luck of late in sim racing. He feels like he needs a good turn in that. No commentators curse here, please. But this looks like it could well be a good battle between himself, Dougal, and Cheverton. Dougal right on the rear just now. Heading out of the hairpin. Could well be some moves coming in soon from Phil McDougall. And Cheverton is lurking in. And Ben Bennyworth is looking handy as well for those positions up ahead. Oh, there's Nigel Stock. Real close to losing that position just then to Phil McDougall, who's right on the rear, heading through Agostini then. Through Oggies. No move yet. But Cheverton is close. The last few corners have been very good from Cheverton. And now you can safely say he is up with these drivers. You've got Nigel Stock going for a first win of the season. You've got McDougall going for a first win of the season. But you've got Cheverton going for an 5th win of the season. Nice and clean out of the corner from all three of them there. And Bennyworth will be hoping the more these squabble in these final 2 laps coming up, the more chance he's got of trying to reap the benefits of getting into the top 3 there as it bunches up between these 3. Oh, and to the inside goes Phil McDougall, and round goes Stock. And Cheverton is going to try and get around them. Stock loses out to 3rd. He's down to 4th as well. But Cheverton's right behind Phil McDougall as they go towards turn number 1. We will get a replay of that instant that just happened a bit later on. But let's just stick with this for now. Gibson and Stock side by side, but Cheverton dives to the inside. I think Phil McDougall is trying to let back Nigel Stock. I think he is. But at the front here, Cheverton leads Bennyworth into 2nd place. And Nigel Stock... No, Cheverton has not... McDougall has not let Nigel Stock back by. And Nigel Stock flashing his lights, I imagine that's frustration in him smashing the light flickering button there. Well, let's have a look at the incident again. It was a little bit... It all happened very, very quickly. But Cheverton's in the lead here. He could well get a 3-peat here as Gibson just... Ah, there we go. McDougall has dropped back here. It might have been instruction from the race steward. I'm not too sure. It might have been him deciding to do that. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't hear anything in my ears. Oh, he's losing out a lot of positions here. He's hit the grass a little bit and he's dropping back to as far as 7th place here. Maybe even 8th is under threat here as Mark Hughes gets a big undercut from Mike Barber to get it back into 8th place here. What a night Mark Hughes has had. Brilliant in race 2 and brilliant here. In 2nd place in AM category. But Cheverton could well be on his way to a 3-peat of wins here. Bennyworth is not going to give up though. He's right on his heels and he could well challenge. We've got side by side between Hughes and Barber again. But Barber's got the inside for the corner. Through he goes. Good move there from Mike Barber. He keeps it in front as well. And Nigel Stock will feel so hard done by what's happened there. We have to review the incident. We'll do that after the race. But Gibson's into 3rd place, which is much brighter for him, considering the night he's had. Now, Bennyworth's dropped back a little bit from Cheverton. Mistake potentially. But as we head on to the final lap of the race now, Cheverton leads. An all too familiar sight seeing Cheverton take the white flag as the first driver to take the white flag. Oh, as Phil McDougall's in the pits. I wonder why this is. But he's in the pits there, yep. I wonder if it might end up being a retirement from the race. I'm not entirely sure. I've got nothing in my ears at the moment. Cheverton leads by nearly a 2nd now from Bennyworth. Gibson is the highest of the Pro-Am drivers. Nigel Stock, highest of the AM category drivers. He'll still get a winning category, but he must feel maybe a winning cat in overall might have been on tonight. And Phil McDougall, who had an opportunity for that, is well down the order now. He might have felt he had the opportunity for it as well. Cheverton heads around Oggies and now Williams for the final time. Just a couple more corners to go. It's going to be 3 from 3, potentially 4. Cheverton, if he can complete this lap cleanly. What a night this guy has had. He's had plenty of competition throughout the night. Jaworski and Bennyworth. And of course, particularly in qualifying from Joseph Gibson. He's had the competition tonight, but he has just bested them just about throughout the night. Final few corners here. Can Cheverton finish this off? Race 1 he won. Race 2 he won. And it's going to be race 3 as well. Matthew Cheverton takes 3 from 3 here at Snetterton. Big flashing lights there in celebration. Fantastic win for the Aztec Racing driver. Bennyworth finishes second place. A very strong night for him as well. Joseph Gibson takes win in the Pro-Am category as well. And Nigel Stock, Am category win for him. Led the majority of the race, but he still win in the category. Stanley Donaldson in second place from Stephen Fry in third place. A tricky night for him. Mark Hughes, real strong night for him. Second place in this race. And Mark Kent, the biggest gainer of the overall field. 11 places gained in that race, and he finishes third in category, but 9th overall. Right, before we go to the results of the race, let's look at that incident. When Nigel Stock was leading heading into the final corner, and there was contact. We'll slow it down. We'll slow it down now. Actually, no, let's go full speed. Let's go full speed. Oh. Okay, let's watch it again, full speed. So, McDougall put it to the inside just about on Stock, and Cheverton did the same to McDougall. Yeah, you see it there. Oh. The argument will be, was McDougall alongside enough? That'll be the argument in this. I'm not going to judge that. I'm not going to say yes he was or no he wasn't. But that is what caused the change in the lead. And then subsequently, Cheverton moved to the lead of the race. And this is how he got it done. That was what secured the race win pretty much. So our winners in each category tonight: Cheverton, Gibson and Stock. And here are our overall results from race 3. Matthew Cheverton takes the win, 3 from 3. Ben Bennyworth in second position from Joseph Gibson in third, and Nigel Stock finishing fourth in the end in that dramatic race. Stanley Donaldson, 5th position from Stephen Fry in 6th. Mike Barber in 7th from Mark Hughes, brilliant night for him in 8th. Mark Kent, great comeback for him, 9th place. Dylan Hunter in 10th from Lewis Mason in 11th. And Andy Chell, good comeback for him in this race, 12th position. 13th for Thomas Delaney with Andy Oldhouse in 14th position. Jaworski in 15th position from Trevor Sharp in 16th. Sean Doby 17th. Steve Johnson 18th. Carl Thompson 19th. And 20th, Phil McDougall and Matthew Williams rounding off the field. Pro-Am category exclusively, Joseph Gibson takes the win from Stanley Donaldson in 2nd place and Stephen Fry in 3rd place. Nigel Stock takes the win in the Am category from Mark Hughes in 2nd position and Mark Kent finishing 3rd place. So we're going to go to some interviews now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go back to the start of the race first of all. But our interviews tonight, first of all, we're going to speak to our first volunteer of the night. And he always volunteers for an interview, of course he does. But we're going to speak to Andy Chell, who's been rather quiet on the broadcast tonight. But we will speak to Andy Chell now, on behalf of Crater Mass Motorsport. Yeah, you were just chatting to Ben. But welcome to the comms booth, Andy. Right, so Hello, mate. Okay, so let's just wait for the cars to get going a little bit here. Okay, so we haven't really seen much of you tonight, Andy. Could that be the story of tonight? But I would say in that third race in particular, 9 places gained and 5th place in category. How? Yeah. Okay. Oh, hang on a minute. Sorry, mate. I do apologise. We're going to have to start that again because we couldn't hear you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Broadcast. Yeah, very briefly, just chat us through each race, how they kind of went.
Yeah, okay. Race 1 was going okay till I think it was lap 3. A little bit of contact into the hairpin, spun me round, and then unfortunately I got tagged by cars coming through, which broke the suspension. So I had to limp it back to the pits, get it repaired, and then back out. And at that point, I was nearly a minute behind everybody. So kind of a race of, oh, this is where it's going to go. Similar sort of thing into in race 2, really. Again, into the hairpin, tagged on the first lap. It's an incident. It's a racing incident. It's nothing, nothing that anyone. It's not malicious or anything like that. Obviously, stewards will have a look because they have a look at every incident on the first lap of a race. But again, put me down the order, and then it was again just a catch-up attempt on that. But again, when you're 40 seconds behind the next car, it's kind of on this track. It's race over unless someone has a bit of an incident. Yeah. Race 3, we made it to corner 3 before it happened. But again, a little bit of a tag. Again, it's close quarters racing at the start. It happens. But luckily, no damage this time. Just dropped to the back of the field, and then I had fun driving my way back through my own class to recover to the 5th, I think you said. So I'm happy with that. I just think, like I said, I need to sort my qualifying out. It's not going my way, so I need to sort that out, I think, which is going to be a focus for me now. But yeah, other than that, it's been a fun little night, to be fair.
Do you reckon you can lend on the skills maybe of Donaldson and Bennyworth maybe for qualifying advice? Because I remember when I was driving these cars, they're to get them onto optimal pace, particularly for qualifying, it's a bit of a fine art.
Yeah, I mean, the other 3 guys are rapid. Mike's not had a great night tonight. All things told, I don't believe. I think he's been top 10 just throughout. But again, it's still, he's new to the car, but he is quick. I mean, he is a quick driver. So yeah, for me, learning from those guys is something that we are doing. It is something that they do help me out because they have got a bit of a better run on handle on the car in qualifying trim than I have. So yeah, it is something we do work together on. It's just learning them, learning the little tricks that they've got. Not overheating the tyres seems to be a big thing. For me, I kind of seem to be getting less out of the tyres than I could do. So again, it's learning from them, how they're warming the tyres in and things like that, like you say. But yeah, we do that, and it is something that we do talk about. So hopefully, a little bit of practice and a little bit of refinement, we can see me qualifying a bit higher, which will help out.
Okay, so what about Thruxton next week? The fastest track on the calendar. Is a fast track going to be your specialty, or?
I mean, if I take my form from GT3s, possibly. Watkins Glen in the GT3 was one. Portimao, another. So I do tend to favour the faster circuits, but again, different cars. We'll see. I've raced it before and I really enjoyed it. It's one the Audi really enjoys because of it being a fast circuit. So again, it does help being in the Audi. Last season it was wet, so fingers crossed it won't be. But I mean, if it is, I've got practice in the wet with it as well. So yeah, I like Thruxton. It's a good fun circuit. So hopefully, like I say, fingers crossed, a little bit of refinement, and I can get myself a little higher up because I think qualifying's affecting me, and then obviously.
And it's crucial at Thruxton, qualifying is.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's very crucial.
No pressure, mate.
Yeah, no pressure. When you're struggling with qualifying, it's not what it's like going to Monaco and being like, I really need to qualify well. But yeah, it's one that we'll wait and see. But yeah, we are practicing that, and it is something that I'm identifying as my weak point in these cars. So again, something that as a team we're going to start working on to help me improve on it, and then the team itself is helping out with that as well.
Okie dokie. Right, so Thruxton next week. How about a shout out for anyone who might be watching tonight, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give a shout out as I always do to our team. I know you're probably going to be having a word with Ben in a minute, or after you spoke with the other driver there, but yeah, they've done brilliantly tonight. All three of them have. So immensely proud of them. Big shout out to the team in general for supporting us, and to all our sponsors that help us keep going. To yourself and NXTGEN for giving us a position, to come and actually race and have fun. If you're watching, Thomas and Watsy, thanks for joining in. Hopefully, Thomas, you've seen some cars go fast and you're happy, even if Uncle Andrew's not been around much. But yeah, hopefully everyone's enjoyed it, and to everyone that is watching, thank you very much, because if you didn't, we wouldn't get to do this, so we appreciate it.
Fantastic. Lovely speaking to you again, Andy. I'll probably chat to you next Thursday as well, but until then, thank you very much. Well done tonight, and we'll see you next time at Thruxton.
You will indeed. Thanks, matey. Bye.
That was Andy Chell, generally the boss of Quatermass Motorsport, if you are not aware. That's the Rd3 machine, as he is on our number plates there. A good 5th place finish in the end there, and he says he has to work on qualifying, and we'll see how he gets on in qualifying in Thruxton. We'll have to remember what he said there. But next up, we are going to chat to our not only race winner, but 3-time race winner tonight. 5 wins from 9 races this season. Matthew Cheverton joins us in the comms booth. So first of all, Matthew, can you hear us okay?
Yep, I got you good, mate.
Fantastic. Well done. You must be feeling great right now. 3 wins.
That's a feeling. Usually Snet is one more of a track I sort of defer from. Probably not one of my favourites, and yeah, we are 3 for 3. Maybe had it easy in some bits, had to work for it a bit more at the end there, but yeah, that's just, well, if there's one way to say I want the championship, I guess it's that.
Yeah. You said it wasn't easy tonight, and we actually mentioned that earlier on. Bennyworth was always, on it, trying to prevent the wins. So was Jagelevsky. What do you think was the difference for yourself tonight? Try and blow smoke up your behind here, but what was actually the difference you thought tonight in getting those wins done?
It's the car, just both the car itself and getting it in the right window. I mean, the Honda strengths are usually lower corners and on the brakes, and obviously there's a lot of slow corners around here. And then I think just setup as well. Obviously, we had max ballast, 100 litres, and I think, like I say, I'm used to it now. I'm used to the heavier car, and I can work with it a bit more. I know when to push it, when to maybe not get too carried away, and then I'm just extracting lap time, and then set the brake bias up, so I'm not sending back over front. And then we put in some mega laps, like 159s maybe high 59s, low 2-minute deads consistently, which I wasn't expecting. But yeah, strong pace, and it's just a brilliant car.
Absolutely. Are you finding the races, they come to you better than qualifying? Because we noticed qualifying at Brands Hatch was a little bit tricky for you. We noticed in the race you were 4th. I mean, a lot of that will come down to ballast, I'm sure it will. But do you feel the race is just more your hunting grounds?
But I think qualifying today is my own fault. We could have had pole. I just in practice I found just continuous running helped bring the tyres in and bring the lap time down. So I chose that strategy, and then when I realised it wasn't going that way, I went to pit and I just mucked it up and didn't have enough time to do a lower fuel fresh tyre run. So we could have had pole, but yeah, I mean, we took 4th pretty well. But yeah, I've never been the strongest qualifier. I've always seemed to be one of my weaker points. It seems to be getting better. But yeah, I think my strength is just being quick, but holding that quick lap consistently over an entire race. I mean, my strength more lies in endurance racing, prototypes, GTs. So being able to go a distance at a consistent pace is arguably my strength, and obviously in a race environment, that's the key to winning or being second.
Excellent stuff. Now let's talk a bit about Aztec Racing. You've got 1 or 2 teammates in this championship at the moment. How are things in the Aztec Racing camp at the moment for this championship?
Well, to be fair, I think we signed up as 5-6, and we're down to 3 main and only 2 today.
Oh, no.
I mean, I think my teammate Gabriel just said he was at the hospital, so fair play to that. But I mean, well, I can't say for my teammates, but well, things are going good up here. I mean,
yeah.
I'm obviously when I get the time, checking down the order, seeing where Lewis is. He's obviously trying to gun for the AM, as is Gabriel. Obviously for him it would be a setback, and for Lewis it's probably some solid points. So I think as long as they I'm not going to say who I have as the team point scorers, but as long as I get in the point scoring positions, it's happy days. It's happy days. More points to the team and more chance at a team championship.
Absolutely. So we got Thruxton coming up next. So you mentioned the Honda is pretty good in the slower corners, which is going to help for the 2 chicanes potentially at Thruxton, but generally a faster track next time out at Thruxton. 1, how do you feel about Thruxton next week? And 2, how do you think the Honda is going to be there?
Well, I love Thruxton. I think I can speak for many people and say I love Thruxton. It is such a great track. It is full on, 100% to the, life to the wall track. You can't really blink, and then otherwise you're going off into the grass. So yeah, it's a fantastic track. As for our chances, I don't know. I mean, I could definitely see that down the straights we did suck a bit. Just in the first couple of races, the first and third race when we started behind cars, we were getting out dragged in the straight line. I mean, that is partly down to the Audi being a better car in that area anyway, but especially in race 3, chasing down the 2 Hondas, the weight in the straight line, you could easily... I was feeling it a bit, so yeah, a high-speed track, high-speed corners, very high-speed straights. It does sound like I won't be getting any wins, but then again, after tonight, I am open to anything,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not over until it's over.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see if Jaworski's back next week as well. Even more challenge for you next week. Yeah, final question, Matthew. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to who might be watching the broadcast?
Of course, obviously shout out to the team. A really good effort today, and so far in this season, our sponsors Claremont, RSR, Smag 660, for their involvement, making the car look prettier and seems to be faster as well. And shout out to the shout out to my parents, my folks, always watching, always tuning in. Yeah, so cheers to those guys. Good stuff.
Fantastic. It's a three-peat for you tonight, Matthew. Well done. And we'll see you next time at Thruxton.
Cheers, thank you.
There we go. That was Matthew Cheverton. Three-peat of wins tonight. Extraordinary achievement. And we'll remember this race all season. Or remember this round all season purely for that achievement. Now, we're going to chat to Ben Bennyworth next up. Second position in the third race and second position in race 2. It's been a great night, actually, for Bennyworth. Probably disappointed about the win, but Ben, first of all, long time no speak, so can you hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yep, excellent stuff. Well, welcome back to the comms booth, Ben. Not a bad night for yourself. Really good results. A little bit disappointed you didn't get any race wins tonight, or are you generally happy with how tonight's gone?
In a way, kind of happy, a little bit sad. Well, I say sad, a little bit frustrated. Delighted that we got the two P2s. I was a little bit gutted that we couldn't quite get it into a win in race 3, but the way that Cheverton's going right now is it's pretty much near impossible to even think about getting a win. But yeah, we're getting there. We'll get there eventually.
Well, it might be a good time to mention Thruxton next week. Is that a track you've got much experience on? Do you think that might be a track you can turn this around on against Cheverton?
Depend. Well, I hope so, because it kind of depends. It depends on it depends on what the track temperature is going to be like, and the thing about the Audi, it's not the greatest in terms of tyre temps, I suppose.
Right.
But I think we can. You need a little bit of luck, and I think tonight we proved that we can take it. With a little bit of luck on our side, we can take it with Cheverton and even Jaworski as well. Yeah. I mean, it's doable, basically.
What are your kind of related to what you just said there? What are your targets at the moment for the season? Obviously, win as many races as possible. Races are races, but as we settle into the championship now after 3 rounds, what are you kind of setting your sights on in terms of achievements?
I mean, like you said, it's trying to pick up as many podiums, many as wins as you can. I mean, ideally, the aim is to get to the final 3 at Brands Hatch with a chance of winning the championship, and I think we're in a good shot. I think, depending on how the other rounds go, there's a couple of tracks in the calendar that we could hit a road bump, but at the moment it's just basically taking it race by race, and I think we can. With Thruxton being how flowing and how fast it can be, I think it's definitely on the marks, I think.
Fantastic stuff. Good to hear, actually. Right, floor is yours, Ben. Anybody you want to give a shout out to? Any friends, family or sponsors who might be watching?
Do you want to give a massive shout out to all the guys at Quatermass, Andy, Mike Barber, Stanley as well tonight. They did a fantastic job. Obviously the team boss Max, if he's watching, I don't know where he's probably still in. He's probably in Basel still, probably after Eurovision. But yeah, just a massive shout out to all the Quatermass guys for making this happen and going forward as a team.
Excellent stuff. Well done tonight, Ben. Big haul of points for you tonight. We'll see you next time at Thruxton.
Yes, thank you very much.
There we go. That was Ben Bennyworth chatting to us then. And we got one more interview that we're going to dive into right now, actually, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to chat to Joseph Gibson. Next up, pole position from qualifying tonight, and then a strong P3 in race number 3. So, Joe, your first time in the comms booth. Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you fine, Alex.
Excellent, thank you very much. Well, welcome along to the comms booth. Let's chat through each session one by one, because it was a very up and down night for yourself, actually. But qualifying, what a fantastic performance in qualifying. Just kind of chat us through how the process went in qualifying.
Quite surprised myself, to be honest with you. Through practice yesterday, I was pretty confident, and then sort of just nailed that one lap, and then I think everyone else kind of backed off a bit. So I was a bit surprised that there wasn't a bit more pace from the other guys, but it's a bit like the meme, like how did this guy end up here? And I was surprised myself, but nailed it. And I think getting on the grid for race 1, it was a bit like not used to the pole position, so I kind of overcooked it, and gave myself a bit of work to do, but it was good fun. And then sort of picked up the pieces for race 1 going into race 2. Kept fighting with the full tilt guys. They seem a little tag team there. Rear gunner on Benny there. So yeah, it's kind of tripping over the same guys there. Race 3, what's it, started 10th, I think.
Yes, he did, yeah.
And yeah, it's just a case of finish the evening strong. But I hope my friend McDougall, I think I may have been a bit too punchy, but we'll see how that plays out with the stewards. But hopefully get the P3 still.
It certainly seems like a big turn in pace here at Snetterton. You said you felt quite good heading into tonight, but is this a Snetterton thing, or do you think this is something where you're getting used to the cars, you're getting used to the field, and you feel your pace overall has increased?
I have been fairly strong at Snetterton. I think the Audi does have a bit of an edge around here. It seems to be doing pretty well in straight line speed against the other manufacturers. Sort of watching them disappear in the mirrors down the straights a bit. I just played with a bit of balance on the bias and sort of found it comfortable to drive, I think. So hopefully, this could be there could be more to come in the season. I'm up with the same few guys now, so I know who I'm racing against. But just get a head down and keep going.
And on that note, what about Thruxton next week? Fairly new track to iRacing, but a very fast track at that within this season. How are you feeling for Thruxton next week?
It's not a circuit that I've driven quite a bit yet, so I think I have to try and put in a bit of practice and see how that goes. It's fast, a very fast circuit. So hopefully the Audi can give us a bit of a boost with that one.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. Last of all, Joseph, anybody you want to give a shout out to who might be watching the broadcast tonight?
I want to give a massive shout out to my teammate that actually couldn't race in this league because he had a very bad accident on his bike, his road bike. So Mats Anderson, this one's for you, and I hope you have a speedy recovery, firstly, and I hope to have you back racing with us again soon. Secondly, to the Goldwing boys, you've had me racing for them this season. It's been a pleasure so far, and hopefully more to come.
Second that about your friend Matt, hoping for a speedy recovery from everyone at NXTGEN Racing. Thank you, Joe. Fantastic racing tonight. We'll see you next time at Thruxton.
Thanks, Alex.
There we go. Yeah, a good turnaround in the end for Joseph, finishing third in race 3 there. It was a night that started so well, it went into a big dip and then picked up really well towards the end. But I would say Joseph has put himself into contention as one of those front runners in the field amongst, Stanley Donson, Stephen Fry, Ben Bennyworth, the like. So we'll see how he gets on next time at Thruxton. Right, we have got one more interview, actually, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to chat to Lewis Mason, another Aztec Racing driver, along with Matthew Cheverton. Lewis Mason joins us in the comms booth. First of all, Lewis, can you hear us okay?
Yep, got you, mate.
I'm going to turn you up a little bit, but there we go. Right, yeah, Lewis, welcome to the comms booth. I made a comment earlier, you might like it, you might not, but I made a comment saying you seem to love finishing in third place in this AM category, but but still, very strong results. You're getting consistent good results and a good haul of points. So, is that how you're feeling after tonight, or have you got other thoughts on it?
Obviously, race 2 didn't really go to plan. Turned my car off by accident when I was trying to use the clutch, because I haven't actually got a clutch pedal or paddle, so I use buttons.
Oh, no.
And one of my buttons for my clutch is next to my ignition button, so I turned my engine off because I was battling trying to get the car ready for the race start.
Oh no.
Yeah, and so that's why race 2 I bogged down loads, went to the back of the grid, so it was just kind of trying to race through. But if I hadn't have had that, I probably would have been in the lead of AM, because Mark Kent had an issue, and I think Nigel Stock did as well.
Yeah.
And so
absolutely.
where they'd fell down to, I probably would have been in the lead, but writes itself, doesn't it? But I did good to recover from the back of the grid up to P3 again, and then race 3 you've probably seen just a bit too much throttle coming out of the hairpin, got into the side of someone, had a bit of a moment, that dropped me back as well, and I just could only recover to about P4, I think.
Yes, you did in race 3, yeah. It's been... Yeah, you're missing the race... I think you're missing the race winning category this season, but championship-wise, this is going really, really well. Is there anything, like, you think that could push you forward a little bit more? Anything you're thinking, oh, I can do that a little bit better to push forward? Anything on your mind at the moment to do so?
Yeah. Probably the AM drivers that are battling for wins and podiums overall are being bumped up a class would help with that. I mean, if you look at the championship, me and the others are pretty close, and then you've got the 2 at the top that are just running away with it, so it'd be nice if classes could be equalled out a little bit, but that's going to happen at some point in the season, isn't it? So just got to wait for that, keep on trying to score as many points as possible. That's why I'm trying to keep it on the podium as many times, because it's nice to keep it there. I want to try and battle for the lead, so we'll see what happens.
Well, if I ask that question again in future rounds, we'll get a more constructive answer than that. But, yeah, I wasn't expecting that answer, but, yeah, brilliant. Okay, so Thruxton's up next. Might be a shift in categories, as you've just alluded to remind everyone. But what about Thruxton next up? Very fast track, very fun track. A lot of drivers I've spoken to already are really looking forward to it. How are you feeling about it?
Well, last season at Thruxton, I started in the pit lane because I had a few incidents last season. So I had a pit lane start, and it was interchangeable conditions. So some people started on dries out, gambled for the wets because the rain was going to come within the first few laps. Luckily, the rain came, and I managed to get all the way up to P8 overall. So I'm hoping for something similar, because that was quite fun, that was.
Rain at Thruxton can be a little bit frantic, can't it? So that'd be a catalyst.
Makes it more fun.
Yes, it does.
Adds to the enjoyment.
Well, I'll have my fingers and toes crossed for you. But yeah, Thruxton up next. Really looking forward to that. Last question for yourself, Lewis. Anybody you want to give a shout out to? Any friends, family, or sponsors?
Everyone that's on the car, like Claremont, Woodland, everyone that's on there. Teammate Matthew Cheverton, he's been doing really good this season. And then just people for helping with certain things, like Jamie Dory was helping me with car control, and when I've ever asked Ben Altria for a bit of help if I've been struggling, he'll sit with me and go through Garage 61 and show me where I can be improving a little bit. So just everyone that gives a little bit of help along the way.
Fantastic. Well, great speaking to you tonight, Lewis. We'll see you next time at Thruxton.
Yep, sounds good, mate.
There we go. And just to mention, thank you very much to the drivers who volunteered for interviews tonight, including race winners, which is really, really good to see. 5 interviews. Fantastic. Okay, we are going to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to go to the results of our race 3 yet again, just to wrap this up. Matthew Cheverton takes a 3-peat of wins tonight. with race 3 being the third, of course. Ben Bennyworth, second position from Joseph Gibson, and Nigel Stock falling to fourth place, having started pole position. Fifth place, Stanley Donaldson from Stephen Fry in sixth position, Mike Barber in seventh, and Mark Hughes, a good strong night for him, in eighth. Mark Kent, good climb up the field in that third race to ninth position with Dylan Hunter in 10th. Lewis Mason 11th, who we just spoke to, with Andy Chell, who we also spoke to in the interviews, 12th. Thomas Delaney in 13th from Andy Aldhouse in 14th, and Jagalewski in 15th. Disappointing race 3 for him, but a good night overall, especially in race 1 and 2 and in qualifying. Trevor Sharp on his debut gets 16th position from Sean Doby in 17th. Steve Johnson in 18th position from Carl Thompson in 19th, and Phil McDougall 2 laps down at the back in 20th, and Matthew Williams not finishing the race. This has been round 3, ladies and gentlemen, here at Snetterton, round 3 of the championship. Next week, next round, shall I say, actually, is at Thruxton. That's in 2 weeks from today. On the 4th of June is when the race will take place, but this broadcast of the Blue Lobby will take place on the 4th of June. Thank you very much for watching tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Next Gen Racing, the NXTC Season 9. A big shout out to our partners, sponsors and affiliates here at Next Gen Racing that include PowerMax Racing, Mark Sykes Designs, Benji Sim Photos, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Sam Cases, Moser Racing, Joyce Design, Falconer PC, and our title sponsor for the series, Doble Motorcycles. Thank you very much for watching tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That's been round 3 of the championship, and next up is round 4 at Thruxton. It's a three-peat of wins tonight for Cheverton at Snetterton. Thank you for watching tonight. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, that's all from us here at Next Gen Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.